Hey everyone, and welcome to this movie reading of It from 2017. And yes, you have heard correctly, this channel does not show movies, but rather readings of the scripts. So this is great if you're driving somewhere or on the bus and want something to listen to. Anyways, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's shown me in my analytics that less than 1% of listeners are subscribed. So please do if you want to be notified every time I make a new movie reading. Okay, without further delay, this is It from 2017. I'm every nightmare you've ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you were ever afraid of. We open on rain lashing a window pane. A piano plays somewhere off screen. Charles Ives, Sonata No. 2 for piano. A little boy gazes out into the storm, nervous, eager, sweet. Georgie Denborough. Sure, I won't get into trouble. Bill, 13, his brother, sits up in bed, surrounded by tissues and sheets of newspaper, finishing creases on a paper boat. Don't be a wuss. I'd come with you if I weren't dying. You're not dying. You didn't see the vomit coming out of my nose this morning. He throws a Kleenex at Georgie. Now, go on. Get the wax. In the cellar? You want it to float, don't you? Georgie, hesitant, scared even, resigned. He looks over at the walkie-talkies laying on the shelf, grabs one, and goes. Title card, October 1988. Georgie hurries downstairs, catching a glimpse of their mother Sharon Denborough, 30s, in a parlor playing piano, an earthy beauty, transported to another world while she plays. George's stomach sinks as he comes face to face with the cellar door, the only thing between George and the monster in the basement of his imagination. Flinging the door open, George ventures his arm into the dark void. He gropes around and finds the light switch. Nothing. George snaps his arm back. The dark basement glares back at him, taunting. 1, 2... Walkie crackles. Georgie jumps, startled. Bill over the walkie. Come on, hurry up! Recovering, Georgie scrambles down the steps to the cellar shelf, sifts through junk as fast as he can. A broken flashlight, turtle wax, a bag of colored balloons. He grabs the box of paraffin near the back of the shelf and hurries back up the stairs as we quickly track towards him, about to pounce. The door slams in our face. Bill melts a chunk of paraffin with a match in a ceramic bowl and then dips his finger in the hot liquid and smears the wax along the sides of the boat. There you go. She's all ready, Captain. They both grin, the cozy room full of cheerful brotherly love. George kisses Bill on the cheek, startling him. Thanks, Billy. Don't forget to put on all your rain stuff before you go out or Mom will blow a circuit. He goes. Bill looks to the rain-lashed window, piano still playing. He's suddenly filled with a sense of foreboding. Holding his boat, George exits through the front door. Once more, the walkie in his slicker's pocket crackles to life. Will through the walkie. Be careful. George stops and looks up at his brother in the window looking down at him. George gives a little wave. A dead traffic light sways overhead, its black lenses gazing back at a boy in a yellow slicker and red galoshes. George races down the street past dark houses after his paper boat, which sluices along the gutter swollen with rushing rainwater towards the intersection. Angle on the dripping street sign, Witcham and Jackson. Rain taps on George's hood, sounding to his ears like rain on a shed's roof. A comforting, almost cozy sound. The buckles of his galoshes make a merry jingle as he goes. The boat whistles past a blockade of sawhorses marked Department of Derry Public Works. Georgie ducks under one to keep up with his boat. He continues to run, head down, until, smack, he runs right into one of those sawhorses, cutting off his path. Georgie falls back while the boat sails on. No! George gets back to his feet, chases after his paper boat, reaching it just as it surfs up to the drain, circles around twice, and is swallowed up. George looks ready to cry. Aw, Bill's gonna kill me. He peers into the storm drain, water falling into darkness. A dank, hollow sound comes from within, the boat kicking in and out of the shadows. George snakes his arm through the grate, reaching for the boat, his nose pressed against the curb. Just as he's about to get it, a face appears. A greasy white face. George recoils from the storm drain, spooked. That's when a sad voice, rises up. This your boat? George looks around, hoping someone else is around to hear this. It's just him and the torrential rain. An old woman watches from the window of a house behind the storm drain. Cut to point of view from the old woman's house. She turns her attention back to her cat, scraping out the wet innards of a can of tuna into a plate on the windowsill. It meows. Back to Georgie. It's a nice boat. Floats. George looks back at the drain. Deep inside there, lingering just on the edge of the shadows, is a clown. Not Bozo or Ronald McDonald, but something more old world, freakish, like that of a 19th century acrobat, bald, lithe, almost childlike. Pennywise. Why are you in the sewer? Oh, the circus said not to say. How come? They don't let me in on that stuff. I just do my tricks for the kids. You look like a nice boy. I'll bet you have a lot of friends. 3. But my brother is my best. George glances at the paper boat, now kicking between Pennywise's gnarly white feet. Pennywise picks up the boat. Your best. Is this his boat? He made it for me. A big grin swells across Pennywise's face. That's a good brother. Where is he? In bed, sick. Let me cheer him up. I'll bring you both to the circus. We don't want to go. Why not? There's cotton candy and bearded women and all the balloons your brother could want. He's 13. He thinks balloons are dumb and clowns are dumb. Pennywise's face turns, a dawning awareness. Well, you don't, do you? George shrugs. I'll take just you, then. I don't know, I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Smart parents. Well, I'm Bob Gray. Pennywise to my friends. What do they call you? Georgie. Georgie. Now we aren't strangers, are we? George shrugs, still not convinced. I promise I'll have you back in time for dinner. Give me your hand, we'll shake on it. You're still a stranger. I don't want to talk to you. Okay, shake and give me the silent treatment. Zip your lip up and shake. With his left hand, Pennywise pretends to zip his own lip while offering his right through the sewer drain. And I'll give you back your boat. Pennywise holds Georgie's boat out of the drain with his right hand. Georgie reaches out both hands, his left to receive his boat, and his right for a handshake to signal their friendship. He gets even closer when Pennywise lunges, grabs Georgie's hand, jerks him down and toward the sewer, baring his mouthful of razor-like teeth. Cut to the old woman's POV again. The cat devours its food, the old woman pleased with his appetite. She hears a scream and looks up, dropping the food and heading for her door as quickly as her old bones permit. Back on Georgie, on the ground, crawling away from the drain. A gnawed and bloody stump where his right arm used to be seconds ago. But at least he's getting away. And then, yank! Georgie is pulled back into the blackness of the storm drain, screaming as loud as his little lungs can manage. Cut to the old woman's POV one last time, as she totters from her building, staring in terrified wonderment at the drain across the street, which has swallowed Georgie Denborough whole. Smash cut, June 1989. In the distance, settled on a crosscut of the Penobscot River and Kentuskeg Stream, rests the town of Derry, Maine. We tilt straight down to Hanlon Abattoir. Several multi-acre manure-filled sheep pens stand empty. One has 50 sheep ready for slaughter. A path leading from the pen grows narrow as it feeds into an industrial complex designed for slaughter. A sheep, big and bleeding, looking right at us. Stunbolt gun enters frame, inches from the sheep's glabella, also known as that space between your eyes. It's held there for a squirm in your seat amount of time. Pull it, son. That's Leroy Hanlon, 60s. He looks much older, though. Working every day of your life will do that to you. And he's the Hanlon in Hanlon Abattoir. It's his grandson Mike, 13, that holds the Stunbolt gun. Leroy describes Mike as soft because of reasons like this. Go on, pull it. Mike's hand shakes, nerves getting to him. I don't want to do this. People need to eat. But how would you feel, raised for food? Like I'd want you to get it over with is how I'd feel. Remember what I told you? You gotta do this quick. If the animal senses what you're about to do, if it starts to fear you, adrenaline courses through its body and changes the taste, and the meat winds up tough. He snatches the stun bolt away from Mike, and without a moment's hesitation, he squeezes the trigger, and whomp, the sheep falls. Mike stares at its bleeding out carcass as Leroy hangs the stun bolt. You need to start taking more responsibility around here, Mike. Your dad was younger than you when he took this over. But what if I can't? What if I don't want to do this? Be here. Look at me. Let me tell you about being here, because you need to understand something. There are two places you can be in this world. You can be out here, like us, or you can be in there, like them. Leroy points to the other sheep, lined up and waiting in the slaughter pen for their turn with the stun bolt. And if you waste too much time hemming and hawing, that choice is going to be made for you. Except you won't know till you feel the bolt blast right between your eyes. Derry Middle School, day. Doors fling open and rowdy 6th, 7th, and 8th graders spill out into the halls like sheep. Books are hurled in the trash, lockers emptied out, papers strewn all over. Summer is officially commenced. Swept up among this madness is Bill Denborough. Handsome and gangly, a boy straight out of a Sally Mann photo, still haunted by the memory of his little brother. Eddie Gasprack, a boy abnormally small for his age, his inhaler holstered in his medicine-filled fanny pack. Richie Tozier, a video game and television freak with bug-eyed glasses. Stanley Uris, tightly wound, repressed, anxious, wears a kippa. Bill, how's it work? They slice part of his penis off. That can't be true. We'd have nothing left. Eddie takes a puff of his inhaler. That's a real knee slapper, Richie. So funny I forgot to laugh. So which is it? Knee slapper or forgot to laugh? For serious, Stan, what happens? I don't know. I read some stuff from the Torah and made a speech, and then suddenly I became a man. Sounds like a lot of work. I became a man by banging Ed's mom. Richie, gross. They turn right towards the exit leading to Endless Summer, but we push forward through the swarms of school kids and find Travis Bowers, 16, and his thug sidekick, Belch Huggins, 15, Patrick Hochstetler, 17, and Victor Chris, 15. One, a lunkhead oaf. Another, a perpetually giggly fire-starting sociopath. And the last one, a scrap and scab junkyard dog type. They nudge each other to look over at Beverly Marsh, 13. Tossing a cloud of auburn hair away from her wary green-gray eyes. Proud, but not conceited. She's the envy and natural enemy to all popular girls. Speaking of which, a group of pretty popular girls, some in field hockey uniforms with pleated skirts they've rolled up extra short and carrying their sticks, join Travis and the others. The prettier leader, Greta, 14, rolls her eyes as she sees who has their attention. If I have to see that bitch one more time this summer. A girl next to Greta drops her backpack to her side and fishes out a field hockey ball from its front pocket. I think I can handle this. Teeing up the ball, she smacks it towards Beverly's shins. Quickly, a startled Beverly lifts one leg and the ball hits the lockers behind her with a loud clang. Sure know how to spread 'em, slut. Peals of laughter from the group. Beverly turns and runs down the hallway, so they can't see the reddening of her face. Run, bitch. Emergency exit. Pudgy Ben Hascom lingers with his bike. He has headphones on, connected to a Walkman. Doesn't hear the door open behind him and Beverly steps out, but Ben blocks her way. She taps him on the shoulder. Startled, he turns and rips off his headphones like he's embarrassed. You're gonna let me go by, or is there a secret password or something? Sorry. He steps aside, but Beverly doesn't move. Instead, lights a cigarette like a pro. Exhales a long stream of smoke before. Sorry's not a password. Travis and his goons are over by the west entrance, so you should be fine. I wasn't. He was. What are you listening to? She grabs his headphones before Ben gets a chance to react, which is a shame, because as she puts it on, all we hear is, I'll be loving you forever. Ben, red. Beverly, surprised. Wow, new kids on the block? I don't even like them. I was just, Oh, wait, you're the new kid, right? Now I get it. There's nothing to get. It's fine, really. Ben blurts. Beverly Marsh? A little too quick. His ears turn red with embarrassment. I just know because we were in social studies together in the same class, and you were, forget it. I'm Ben. Everyone pretty much just calls me the new kid. Even though I've been here for 4 months already. Well, Ben, there are worse things to be called. Ben crushing on her. Can I sign your yearbook? She doesn't even wait for his answer and takes his yearbook out of his hands, opens it, and sees she's the first and only to sign it. Her heart breaks a little for him. She writes, Stay cool, and signs her name with 3 hearts. Ben sees a faint yellow bruise on her forearm. Beverly notices him noticing. Stay cool, Ben from Soch class. You too, Beverly. Ben watches her go, totally smitten. Beverly, K-I-T. Feeling brilliant for an instant. Get laid in the shade! Then smacks his head. Laid in the shade? Really? Burning with shame, he hops on his bike. Through the parking lot, past a Derry police booth, where a little gathering of cops eats donuts. Chief Borton among them, not doing jack shit. The school marquee reads, Remember the curfew, 7 p.m., Derry Police Department. Find Bill, Eddie, Richie, and Stanley nearby watching. The mother of Dorsey Concorin, sleepless and desperate, scans the throngs of departing kids. Her eyes desperately fall on Bill, Richie, Eddie, and Stanley. They avert their stares. She actually expecting to see him? Like Dorsey Concorin's been hiding in home ec the last 3 weeks. You think they'll find him? Sure they will. In a ditch. All decomposed, covered in worms and maggots, and smelling like Eddie's mom's Richie is checked to the pavement by Travis Bowers. His glasses fall off, and a pile of comics and video game magazines spill from his backpack. Sorry, Chode, didn't see you. Travis kicks the glasses away. Victor grabs Stanley's Yormulke and tosses it into the window of a departing bus. Frisbee, fucknut. Belch burps in Eddie's face. Eddie wilts. Bill scoops up the remains of Richie's glasses, smashed by the bus. You suck, Bowers. Travis and his goons turn. They stare at Bill menacingly. You say something, pussy? Everyone around them stops and watches, waiting for Bill to respond. Eddie gives Bill a look to shut it. He does. Yeah, I thought so. You got a free ride this year 'cause you're a little brother, but ride's over, Denbra. He starts to move towards Bill, but he catches sight of Chief Borton, or more importantly, Officer Bowers, Travis's father. Sadly, we'll meet him more officially later. Travis looks back at Bill and the others. Tension. He steps back, giving the boys some room to breathe, but not much. This summer's gonna be a hurt train for you and all your faggot friends. He heads off towards Victor's Trans Am. We cut to an exterior shot of Witcham Street, a strip mall during the day. Backpacks, unzipped, stuffed with old homework, school projects, battered notebooks, broken pencils. Bill, Richie, Stanley, and Eddie shake their backpacks out over a dumpster in the back of Keene's Pharmacy, purging themselves of the school year. Best feeling ever. I know one that's better. Masturbating. But Barron's tomorrow, right? Eddie, Richie, and Stanley look at each other. The mood has changed. Back to Bill. Are we really going to start off the summer looking for dead Dorsey? Stan, he isn't dead. Just missing. Right, sorry, Bill. Richie sees Mike on his bike pedaling past them. Richie waves. Hey, homeschool. Hey. They watch as Mike continues on, ultimately disappearing around the corner, like he's some sort of urban legend. Do homeschooled kids even get summer vacation, you think? Their whole life is summer vacation. I don't know. I bet it's lonely. Never mind that. So, tomorrow, Barron's? We'll be there. They all peel off in different directions, Bill and Richie on their brakes, Eddie and Stanley on foot. Dust collects on the piano in the living room of Bill Denbra's house. A stale quiet suffocates the house. The only sound the ticking of a clock and the distant yelling of playing children. Bill walks up his driveway as he thrusts his fists against the shit. Breathe deep, Bill. Take it slow. He thrusts his fist against the posts, but still insists he sees the ghosts. Skids to a stop at the mailbox. He opens it and sifts through the mail, coming across a brochure for Acadia National Park. His face lights up. Hey, Ma! She's watering their planters, mined a million miles away. Only when one overflows and spills onto her does she snap out of it. Damn it, Bill, you could have said something. She goes to the spigot and turns off the hose. Bill, is that you? Bill pushes his bike to the garage, brochure in hand. He sees his dad, Zach Denbra, 40, sitting at his woodworking bench whittling a lump of wood into a duck decoy. Behind him, dozens of colorfully painted decoys are arranged on display. Western Grebe. Want help painting? I thought we agreed. He points to the corner, which is taken up by an elaborate labyrinth scale model of Derry sewers made out of the yellow plastic hamster tubes. Before you say anything, Bill, just let me show you something first. Bill grabs a G.I. Joe action figure off the tool bench and sticks it into the tubes. He turns on the hose and sprays it at the model. The G.I. Joe goes sweeping through the plastic tunnels, shooting into the drain marked Barron's. The Barrens. It's the only place. He's gone, Bill. But if the storm swept Georgie in, we should have... He's gone. He's dead. What's done is done. Please, take it down. Zach folds a sewer map that Bill had stapled above. And the next time you take a sewer map from my workshop, ask permission. Gut punched, Bill looks to a hamster in an empty cage. Guess you get your tunnels back. As he starts disassembling the model quietly to himself, he thrusts his fists against the posts. Water leaks from the mouth of the hose and pools slowly at his feet. A sinister tremor disturbs its surface, or the reflection of a face. Mike exits and hops on his bike. Doesn't notice Victor's Trans Am pass him on the street, but we do. As Mike takes off in the other direction, we keep with the Trans Am as it stops and makes a slow U-turn. Uh-oh. Mike on his bike, on his own, working his way back to the Hanlon homestead, when Victor's Trans Am appears behind him. Victor behind the wheel. Travis reaches over and honks the horn. Mike turns. "Oh, shit," is written all over his face. Mike pedals fast as the Trans Am screeches up on him like it's going to chew him up and spin him out. At the last second, Mike turns off the road, losing control of his bike. He leaps off, but its speed keeps it upright as it crashes into a gnarled, lifeless tree. The Trans Am blasts past Mike. Amazing, you can even hear their laughter over the roaring engine. Leaning out the window, "Stay the fuck out of my town!" The Trans Am disappears around the bend, but it isn't until the sound of the engine fades that Mike gets back onto his feet, collects himself, walks back to his bike, half hidden in the bushes, rips it free from the brushwood and kneels to examine it. Bent rim, broken spokes, snapped chain. As he inspects the tires, he freezes. He senses a presence behind him. He turns right as something darts into the bushes. He can't be sure what it was, but it looks like a messy mass of melted hands. Not wanting to investigate further, Mike stands and starts to quickly push his bike back onto the road and out of town. Derry Synagogue, day. Stanley reads from the Torah as the rabbi, aka Stanley's dad, watches over his shoulder, waiting for a fuck-up. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech. There it is. Melech. Start again. Trying harder, nervous. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech. Oy vey. Haloam Asher Bakar Mekal. Banu Mekal. You're not studying, Stanley. You're not studying, and yet this is exactly what this time is about. Taking responsibility for one's own religious life. If you don't want to study for you, think of your mother. Think of me. How is this going to look if the rabbi's son can't even finish his reading? Do you want to bring shame on me and your mother after all we've done for you? No, sir. Or on the people of this synagogue? No, sir. On yourself? Stanley shakes his head. No, sir. Your actions say otherwise. Stanley's eyes well up with tears. He doesn't want to be a disappointment. Not to his father, not to anyone. The rabbi hands Stanley the scroll. Put the scroll away. No one up here is using it anyway. Ashamed, Stanley walks down the old molding stone stairs to the basement of the synagogue. He finds his dad's office, a scholar's study, rabbinical papers, journals and books, so many books. On one of the walls hangs a painting, Judith, standing naked, holding her sword in one hand, and the decapitated bloody head of Holofernes in the other. Stanley glances up at Judith as he passes with the scroll, like he can't help himself, even though he'd rather not. Creak. The door to the mikveh opens. A darkness beyond seems to beckon him. Stanley steps through, like he might enter, but instead he slams the door shut, spooked. Eddie walks down the street with crumbling asphalt that runs along the canal and the old train yard. Beep, beep, beep. He looks at his Casio calculator watch. Alarm has been set. Stops. Digs into his pocket. Pulls out a bottle of pills. Opens it and dumps a few into his hand. Different colors. About to pinch one up, but man, he can't shake the feeling that he's being watched. He looks over at the house on 29 Neibolt Street. A plot infested with giant ratty sunflowers that hem in an abandoned, boarded-up structure with a rotted, sloping facade that looks like Munch's The Scream. But no sign of anyone inside or out. Unnerved, Eddie quickly looks at his pills, starts to walk again as he tries to put them back in the bottle when, cough, cough. Not sure from where, he startles Eddie, dropping his pills. They scatter over the asphalt. Shit. He looks back at the house on 29 Neibolt Street. Still no sign of anyone. But hey, do you remember if the front door was open before? Because it is now. Eddie quickly kneels, trying to collect his scattered pills and stuff them back into his medicine bottle. Mom is gonna kill me. He reaches for a red pill when someone else's hand picks it up instead. Let me tell you about this hand if I can. Without throwing up. Start with the thumb, or what's left of it, because really it's not more than a nub, which serves as an outpost in a sea of flaky flesh, full of open sores and hanging scabs, glistening with pus and snot. Probably a mix of both. It is the hand of disease. It is the preview, the almost ugh of what is going to come, as Eddie looks up and sees a leprous, tumorous hobo, a case study for everything awful ever, a wet sponge of sickness. Think these will help me? Hobo coughs again. Eddie squishes his face. He can feel the spittle stick to his skin and absorb the messy microbes, especially as the hobo blows his nose into his hand, wipes it on his coat sleeve. We see the hint of a white ruffle underneath. I mean, maybe you see it, or maybe you're too focused on the long string of snot that drips from his nose. Think these'll make us float? Hobo limps towards Eddie, dragging his dead leg behind him. Eddie scrambles back, not realizing he's making his way closer to the house on 29 Neibolt Street until he turns around and sees an orange glow emanating from underneath the front porch, as if a sunset is happening just beyond the rotten lattice. Eddie is fixated on the glow as the hobo gets closer and closer. We might lose Eddie here, but beep beep, his watch again. It blinks. Eddie realizes the hobo is right on him. How'd he get over so quickly? He takes off running into the backyard and reaches the chain link fence. He looks back at the house and sees Pennywise on the back porch, holding a bunch of stringed balloons on one hand as he waves to Eddie with the other. Where you going, Eds? If you lived here, you'd be home by now. Scared sick, Eddie begins to climb the fence. Not an easy feat for someone of his weak and feeble nature. He falls to the other side, looks back, ready to see something even worse, but Pennywise is gone. Eddie pulls out his inhaler and takes a puff. The Hanlon house, night. Mike picks at his food. Leroy studies him, half amused. Long day? Mike is lost in thought. Something happened while you were out on collections? Says like he already knows the answer, which is why Mike glances up at him for a small moment. I saw your bike. You have another run-in with the Bowers boy? Or is it something else? Something else like what? I don't know, you tell me. Right before we think Mike is going to confide in his grandfather, he stops. Has a question of his own. Why do we live outside of town? Is it because of the Bowers? No. We live out here because I want the best for my grandson. See, it's not just the Bowers that ain't right. It's that whole town that's wrong. Before going further, he pauses to consider his grandson. Is he old enough? He decides. sets down his fork. He leans in. It's time for him to learn the truth about Derry. Do you know what a haunt is? While Eddie watches, Bill and Richie raid the kitchen like feral animals, stuffing Capri Suns, a bag of marshmallows, whatever snacks they can find in their backpacks. What if someone catches us? It's the public works. We're the public, aren't we? One cabin is full of pills. Ignoring that, the boys collect their things and head into the living room. On their way out the front door, Miss Casbrack, an enormous 300-pound woman, is stuffed into a recliner. Moles, curlers, painting her nails as her eyes are glued to Donahue on their small Zenith TV. Maybe she won't notice them leaving. Eddie Bear! Damn it, she did. Where are you boys running off to in such a rush? Eddie to Bill and Richie. Help, please. Just the backyard, Miss K. We got a new badminton set. She looks over at them, assessing whether this is a lie. Okay, but sweetie, don't go rolling around on the grass, especially if it's just been cut. You know how your allergies get. Yes, Ma. I'll take good care of him, Miss K. Almost home free, but... Eddie, are you forgetting something? Eddie slumps, knowing exactly what he's forgotten. He trudges over to his mother as the other boys watch. Kisses his mother on the cheek. She smiles. Want one from me too, Mrs. K? Bill chokes down laughter. Miss Casbrack shoots a look at Richie, like, you wish, on their way out. Knock it off, Rich. Green globes, curved iron staircase, shadowy charm, the Derry Library. Ben sits at one of the long tables. Outside the window, he sees Bill, Richie, Eddie, and Stanley pedal past, a sharp reminder of his solitary state. He looks down at the postcard, reads the poem he's written on it. Your hair is like winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there, too. Satisfied, he addresses the postcard to Bev Marsh when, thump, pointy-nosed Mrs. Sterrett, 40, slaps a dusty old book on the table next to Ben. He jumps, startled. Jesus. Found it. It was behind the radiator in the basement. Thank you, Mrs. Sterrett. Why wasn't it in the stacks? He goes for it, but Mrs. Sterrett slides it back out of reach. Isn't it summer vacation? I would think you'd be ready to take a break from the books. I like it in here. He glances at the newspaper on the table there. A headline with the grisly photo reads, Body found by canal, not Corcoran boy. My mom works 2 jobs, so it's better than being home alone. A boy should be spending his summer outside with friends. Don't you have any friends? Can I have the book now? Ben slides the dusty old book to him. Its jacket reads, A History of Old Derry by Branson Budinger. He flips through pages, through history, renderings of early Penobscot settlements, looting by the British in 1812, sawmill boom soon after, and then photographs like this one. Children at the old ironworks in their Easter best holding baskets of eggs, gathering around a circus wagon. Whatever they are looking at, entertained by, it's just out of sight. He turns the page and is greeted with a headline. Easter explosion kills 88 children, 102 total. Underneath, another photograph of the ironworks, or what's left of it, which isn't much. He turns the page to find a photograph. Townspeople surround a tree, pointing up at something in its branches with varied versions of horrified expressions. What is it there in the branches? Ben turns the page, same picture. Almost, but we're closer now to the subject in the tree. Ben turns the page again, closer. Another page, closer, closer. This continues until we're right in the branches, with the decapitated head of a small child. Ben slams the book shut and pushes it away. He looks around the library, spooked. Mrs. Sterrett blithely stamping books behind her desk. Everyone goes about their business. But what about that pink Easter egg at the top of the stairs leading to the archives? Does no one else see it? Curious, Ben gets up from the table, grabs his postcard, and stuffs it into his pocket. Eyes on the egg, walks over. He picks the egg up and hefts it. Ben looks around, getting the uneasy sense he's being watched. He's about to turn when he sees another Easter egg at the bottom of the stairs, yellow, with a red balloon tied to it. Ben goes down into the archives room. Even in the daytime, it's dark, so there's no telling what stalks in the labyrinth aisles of the high-walled shelves. Ben picks up the yellow egg and stares at it, considering. That one is mine. A small hand snatches the Easter egg from Ben, startles the hell out of him. He sees a boy, 8, disappear down the aisle. He's carrying an Easter egg basket and wears a knicker suit, as was the style at the beginning of the last century. Wait! Ben chases after him, loses him in the aisles, but a growing sense of fear as he rounds the corners. What was that and that? Noises fade, shadows creep. Ben finds himself back at the beginning. Crack, like a dropped egg. Ben looks over at the stairs. Yolk oozes down a step. Look what I found, Benny. From the top, the boy takes a step down. Only his legs are visible, the rest of him obscured by the overhang. He takes another step, wobbly like he might fall. A little more of him is revealed. No basket. So he uses the crook of his arm for his eggs. Not the best way to transport them, and crack. One more egg gone. He takes another step down, revealing his torso, and then another step, revealing the boy. Headless. Little wisps of smoke curl up into the air, coming out of the gaping hole that used to be his neck. He takes another step and loses the other eggs. Crack, 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 crack. Ben takes off running into the aisles. The boy chases him. Ben screams, running as fast as his fat legs can take him, until he runs into Mrs. Starrett. I think it's time you leave. Ben, catching his breath, looks behind him. No sign of the headless boy or the eggs. Exterior Derry Library. Ben exits rattled, clutching the postcard, crosses over to the Monument Square, walks by the statue of the Governor of Maine. Its eyes seem to follow Ben. Sensing this, Ben meets its gaze, unnerved. Where are you off to, Chubbs? Fuck. Travis steps out from behind the statue. Ben stuffs the postcard into his bag, spins around, and behind him, Hochstetler, Victor, and Belch on the other side. Can we come? Travis and the boys drag Ben onto the bridge. They fling Ben against the railing and flip up his sweatshirt, exposing his fat belly. Belch slaps it hard, and Ben screams. Look at the cellulite! Victor squishes it in his hand, squealing like a pig. Patrick pulls out his lighter and a can of hairspray. Let me light his hair like Michael Jackson. Hochstetler jettisons a fireball with his makeshift flamethrower just past Ben's head. Just hold him. Travis pulls the buck knife from his jeans. Ben's eyes go wide. He looks around for help. A car putters down the street and crosses the bridge. An old couple sit in front with glazed looks. They catch eyes with Ben, see his tears, but do nothing. As the car passes, reveal in the back seat a red balloon. Okay, new kid, this is what locals call the kissing bridge. It's famous for 2 things: sucking face and guess what else? Ben scans his surroundings. The bridge's old wooden beams carved up with hundreds of hearts and names of lovers. Wait, Travis, don't! In 2 quick motions, Travis slashes a bright red T in Ben's belly. Victor and Hochstetler laugh. Belch is unsettled. Whoa, Travis. Shut up. I'm gonna carve my whole name on this cottage cheese. Ben is too shocked to scream. He looks over his shoulder at the stream behind him, and then back at Travis's bloody grin. Say it with me. What comes after tea? Ben plants his heel in Travis's chest and launches himself backwards over the railing out of the grip of Victor and Snatch. Travis is knocked back onto his ass onto the pavement. Kendistig's stream. Ben tumbles down the culvert, fetching up hard against the falling tree. He picks himself up as, I'm gonna cut your tits off, I swear to fucking God. Travis leaps over the railing with the knife. Victor, Snatch, and Hochstetler right behind. Ben darts off across the water into a thicket of woods. The Barrens. Travis trips, tangling up his whole crew. They all go splashing down in the stream, where Travis loses the knife. Travis gropes around for his lost knife, suddenly hysterical. Find my knife, my old man will kill me. You two find the fatty. Travis and Victor search the stream, hands passing right by where the blade is wedged under a log. Hochstetter and Belch take off after Ben. A vented iron manhole cover stamped into it says, Derry Sewer Department. This is the Murloc hole, a cement cylinder that sticks out about 4 feet above the ground. A drone somewhere deep within. We move beyond it to reveal the Barrens. A messy, untamed tract of land, big and green and wild. We follow a trickle of water to its source, a large sewer drain pipe. Eddie paces at the entrance. Stanley moves to join Richie further inside, scraping a branch against its grimy corrugated walls. Stanley turns to Eds. Aren't you coming in? It's gray water. What the hell's gray water? Tell him, Bill, what your dad said. Bill is deeper in the long, cavernous sewer pipe, which extends into pitch darkness. Beyond it, though, you get a sense of something lurking, something waiting. It's where all the wash water and storm drains runoff goes. It's sewer water, piss and shit. I'm telling you, you guys are splashing around in millions of gallons of dairy pee. Richie dips his branch in the water and sniffs the tip. Smells okay to me. Bill sees something in the muck and fishes it out. Guys, seriously, have you heard of a staph infection? Guys! They all shot up and turned to Bill, holding a sneaker. Shit. Don't tell me that's... No, Georgie wore galoshes. He flips Richie the sneaker, nods to look inside. Richie flashes his keyring light, sees D. Corcoran written on the sole in black marker. Whose sneaker is this? Bill fishes it out with a branch, afraid to touch it. Dorsey Corcoran. Shit, for real? Oh fuck, that totally freaks me out. How do you think Dorsey feels running around these woods with only one friggin' shoe? The others look at Richie. Did he really just say that? What if he's still here? They all lock eyes. Richie picks up a stick and starts sloshing deeper into the dark pipe where the shoe was found. Eddie stays frozen. Dorsey? Really? Stop. We're gonna get in trouble. Richie. What? My mom will have an aneurysm if she finds out I was playing down here. I'm serious. Eds, you get within 20 feet of a peanut and she has a cow. Come home with Dorsey Corcoran's corpse, she might actually have a whole herd. That's not even funny, Bill. Bill, who has been uncommonly quiet, finally speaks. If I was Dorsey, I would want to find me. Georgie, too. He dumps out a bag of marshmallows and bags the shoe. Who do you think is doing this? I don't know. Maybe this will help us find out. What if I don't want to find out? What? No offense, Bill, but I don't want to end up like... I don't want to go missing either. He has a point. You too? Don't you guys feel it? It's like something is out here watching us, like it wants us. What are you talking about? Yeah, Stan, you're really creepy. Rustling from the bushes. They freeze, waiting, wondering, is Stanley right? More rustling. A figure crashes out of the bush. Eddie falls back. None of them speak as we reveal Ben, barely standing before them, beaten and bloody. Holy fuck, what happened to you? Ben collapses. Hochstetter and Belch split up, one going this way, the other going that. Hochstetter hears commotion up ahead. The boys. He smiles and picks up his pace, passing the droning Morlock hole as he creeps up towards the sewer drainpipe. Our boys are really in for it. Hochstetter peeks through the bushes, but no sign of Ben, Bill, Richie, Eddie, or Stanley. But he hears the echo of footsteps. From inside the sewer drainpipe, splish-splashing through the water, Hochstetter enters the sewer drainpipe. I hear ya, fatty. He giggles, excited by the chase. It bounces off and around the sewer walls as he steps further in. Approaching the darkness, Hochstetter picks up his lighter and his can of hairspray. He flicks the lighter, presses down the spray can valve, and whoosh. A flickering and licking long stream of flame shoots out ahead of him. A makeshift flamethrower illuminates the sewer for an instant before blackness returns. Hochstetter takes a couple more steps. Sound of trickling water, faint noise of distant traffic overhead, and that's not Calliope music, is it? For a split second I thought I heard, nah, never mind. Anyway, whoosh, more gray water, more slimy sewer walls, more darkness. Hochstetter steps in a shaft of sharply sliced sunlight, shining through the sewer grate directly above him. He listens. Something there, in the darkness beyond. Pitter-patter of footsteps, wet, raspy breathing, sniffling. He steps out of the light and into the dark. Don't think you can stay down here all damn day now. Whoosh. Nothing. Darkness returns and an eerie silence settles in. Whoosh. Whoa. Dead children surround Hochstetter, staring at him, their eyes lit by orange flame. Or is that orange glow coming from within them? He can't tell. It happens all too quickly before they're cloaked again in the black nothingness of the sewer. Hochstetter quickly flickers the light. A soft glow. He holds up the spray can and presses down, but it doesn't work. He rattles it, like a rattlesnake about to strike. Sound amplified by the tunnels. Whoosh. More dead children. And then standing among them, Pennywise. His smile begins to grow as his jaw becomes unhinged, revealing rows and rows of teeth right before blackness returns. Hochstetter about to flick his lighter again, but instead, crunch. He screams. We hear his footsteps, running. We don't see him again until he stumbles and falls into another shaft of light. He looks chewed up and spit out, like a bad piece of grisly meat. He looks up into the light. Help, help, down here! On the sewer grate on Kansas Street. As cars drive past and pedestrians walk by, no one hears the horrible screams except for us. And only because we know it's there. Hochstetter looks behind him, something fast approaching. He gets back to his feet and runs as fast as he's able, in and out of periodic light. He stumbles again, tripping over a rusted, broken pipe. He picks it up and turns. Come on, let's go! He waits, ready to throw down. He sees something slowly approach in the darkness. He can't make it out yet, but then a red balloon floats towards him. It only stops when it gets right up to his bleeding, bruising face. We can see something written on the other side. He rotates the balloon to read, I love Derry. Pop. The balloon breaks. Pennywise is right behind it. Hochstetter opens his mouth to scream, and Pennywise lunges, dragging Hochstetter back into the blackness for good. The kids tear into an alley, Dazed and bloody Ben riding double with Richie, bikes clattering to the pavement. "You guys wait here." Bill, Eddie, and Stanley disappear around the block. Keen's Pharmacy. Tampons. Lots of varieties. Too many. Beverly stares at them all, overwhelmed and unsure. "Dad, I'm gonna take off early." Greta appears from the back. Beverly turns away to hide as her sworn enemy exits through the front entrance, right at the same time that Bill, Eddie, and Stanley rush in. "Watch it, losers!" We stay with the boys as they race down one of the aisles. Eddie snatches cotton balls and antiseptic and bandages off the shelf like an expert. Bill checks the prices. "Whoa, that's a lot of dough." Eddie pulls out one crumbled dollar. "All I got." "You don't have an account here, do you?" "You crazy? My mom finds out I bought this stuff for myself and I'll spend the whole weekend in the emergency room getting x-rayed." They glance at the mirror where Mr. Keen, 50s, the grumpy, eagle-eyed pharmacist, watches them like a hawk as he fills prescriptions. Beverly comes up behind them. "Where's the fire?" "None of your business." "There's a kid outside. Looks like someone killed him." "Shit, can I help?" Beverly puts her tampons down at the counter. Mr. Keen smiles at her. "I like your glasses, Mr. Keen. You look like Clark Kent." Mr. Keen, flattered. "Oh, I don't know about that. Can I try them?" Surprised by the request, he tentatively takes them off and hands them to Beverly. She puts them on and smiles back. "What do you think?" "Did Lois Lane wear glasses?" She takes them off and hands them back, knocking over a display of cigarettes. They clatter to the floor. "Shoot. Sorry." Mr. Keen leans down to pick them up. Beverly looks to Bill and Eddie, who grab the bandages and race out of the store. Bev strides out. Bill waits for her by the curb under a colorful mural about the FBI's ambush of the infamous Bradley Gang, a celebrated slice of Derry town history. Thanks." He tries to give her his crumpled bill and some change. She flashes a pack of stolen cigarettes. "Even Steven." She looks over and sees Ben, Eddie, and Richie in the alley, staring at her. She waves, but then realizes, wait, Ben from Soch? On Ben. He's trying to decide what's worse, being seen like this, or being caught listening to New Kids on the Block. It doesn't matter, they both suck. "You okay? It looks like it hurts." Trying to man up. "Nah, I'll be fine. I just fell." Right into Travis. "Shut it, Richie." "What? It's the truth." "Are you sure they got the right stuff to fix you up?" Ben smiles and nods. The inside joke between them eases the pain a bit. He wants to say something, but "We'll take care of him. Thanks again, Beverly." "Sure, see you around." They watch her walk down the alley and turn onto Center Street. Bill, like Ben, is smitten. "Good going bringing up Travis, Richie." "Yeah, you heard what she did." "What'd she do?" "Nothing, they're just rumors." "Who cares if they are or not? This blood ain't gonna clean itself." They get to work on Ben. As we pan up to the mural and notice, painted in the shadow of one of the windows, a white face watching the ambush with a bloodless, sinister smile. Pennywise. A fresh bandage. Ben peels it away, inspecting the wound underneath. "How's it looking?" "Better." They're at Bassey Park Quarry, Lover's Leap, a massive rock formation. Ben looks at Bill, Richie, Stanley, and Eddie, all stripped to their tighty-whities, standing in a line staring at the edge, the black water foreboding endless. Who's first? "Eddie?" "Screw that." Ben walks over. He wants to earn his keep. "I'll go." "With those cuts you have on your chest, I'm not sure if getting in this water... Will you stop with the gray water shit? You make it seem like any water we get in is like swimming in an outhouse." "What's gray water?" "Don't get him started." I'll go first." "Gang of sissies." The boys turn around to see Bev stripping out of a one-piece summer dress down to her underwear. Before they can comprehend what's happening, she sprints off to the edge and jumps into the water. Boom. It's a cannonball. The boys look at one another, and then one by one, they jump. Don't know what color your eyes are, baby, but your hair is long and brown. Legs are strong, and you're so long, and you don't come from this town. Beverly lays out on a rock. She's sun-drenched as Richie's boombox nearby continues playing Love and Rocket's 1989 summer radio hit, I'm Alive. Bill, Ben, Stanley, Richie, Eddie lay on other rocks, leaving a distance between them and Beverly. None of them is bold enough to lay near her, and all of them wishing they were, as they sneak their stares in. I'm alive, so alive. Beverly turns to lay on her stomach. The sudden movement startles the boys and they all look away, busying themselves with other things. Like Richie turns to Ben's backpack filled with books and papers. He starts to go through it and realizes, newsflash, school's out for the summer. That's library stuff, not school stuff. Richie finds the postcard. Who sent you this? Ben snatches it away. No one. He looks over at Beverly, specifically at her knapsack. Eddie flips through a book on the history of Derry. What's with the history project? When I moved here, I didn't have anyone to hang out with or anything, so I started spending time in the library. Seriously? You went to the library on your own for fun? Bill and Richie take a closer look. Beverly joins them. I want to see too. She sits down next to Bill. He can barely concentrate with her so close to him. Skin smells like sun lotion. Beverly looks at him and smiles, not sure what to do. Oh, so awkward youth. Bill turns back at Ben's research. A Xerox shows an 1879 newspaper story with two old photos. The first of loggers posed in front of the Silver Dollar Saloon with schooners of beer in one hand and axes in the other. The second of 5 bodies chopped up on the sawdust floor. Headline screams, 5 massacred in broad daylight. Why is it that all these people keep getting killed and missing kids? Dunno. That's Derry, I guess. Like any town, really. Been around long enough, bad things happen. I mean, all history is a long line of bad things happening to people. Try reading the Torah. Yeah, but Derry's not like any town I've moved to, and I've moved a lot. Do you guys know people die violently here or disappear like 6 times the national average? You read that? That's just the adults. Kids are worse. Way worse. The kids look at each other. Creepy. I've got more stuff if you want to see it. Off their fuck yes faces. Panicking, Ben hurries into his messy bedroom. We can hear the others coming up the stairs behind him as he kicks dirty underwear under the bed, tosses PJs in his dresser, stuffs books of poetry into his desk right before Beverly enters, followed closely by the other losers. Ben turns, wonders what he was thinking to invite them all here. Jesus, what did he forget? All the attention is on his bedroom walls, every inch with more Xerox copies of newspaper articles and photographs, all on the history of Derry. Loggers drinking beer in the Silver Dollar in the 1880s, little kids on Easter egg hunts in the old ironworks in 1907, FBI men stand over a bank robber's bullet-riddled car in the 1930s. Wow. Cool, huh? Richie looks at him concerned. No. Stanley sees a copy of an old document with 90 signatures. Incorporation of the Township of Derry. What's this, a Declaration of Independence? The Charter for Derry Township. Nerd alert. Ben quickly looks over at Beverly, trying to cover. No, it's kind of interesting. Derry started as a beaver trapping camp. Still is, am I right, boys? Beverly shakes her head. Bill throws down a look. Dude. 91 people signed the charter that made Derry, but then later that winter they all disappeared without a trace. Let that sink in. He's got him. The entire camp? Eddie is freaked out by this revelation. On Ben's desk, next to some half-built models, Bill finds a few slides, holds them up one by the light as Ben continues. There were rumors of Indians, but no signs of an attack. Others thought it was a plague or something. Just like everyone woke up the next day and left. The only clue was a big hole in the ground where the well house was. Jesus, we could get Derry on unsolved mysteries. Intrigued by all the stories, Beverly finds herself over by Ben's bedroom door, obscuring more articles. She starts to close the door to get a better look and sees a poster hanging tough on the back. New Kids on the Block. She turns and sees Ben, beet red and staring right at her, horrified. That's what he forgot. Beverly quickly opens the door again before any of the other kids see it. Ben exhales, relieved. Kind of. On Bill, holding up another slide. The first map of Derry. Where was the well house? Somewhere in town, I guess. What's the point of all this? What are you going to do with it? I don't know. Just killing time, I guess. Benny boy, if you're going to start killing time with us fools, do it right. Richie opens his backpack, full of teeth-rotting and MSG-filled goodies. The kids pounce. Bill looks thoughtfully over the walls and books, and then at Dorsey Corcoran's shoe. At the police station, day. Bill hands Dorsey Corcoran's shoe, still wet in the marshmallow bag, a map rolled into it, to Chief Borton, 50s, pudgy. The walls behind him are plastered with flyers of kids, each with missing or murdered over their smiling faces, with names like Dorsey Corcoran, Betty Ripson, Chad Lowe, Missy Albrecht, and others aged 3 to 19. We found it in the Barrens. Borton looks over at Officer Bowers. Christ. Thank you, son. We'll take it from here. If it's serial killers, aren't you supposed to call the FBI or something? The FBI? They must be real official. Laughs, proud of his own joke, but this isn't some joke. Look at all the bad stuff that happens here. People disappear at 6 times more than the national average. With kids, it's even worse. And what do? Nothing. Hey, these things happen. Every now and then a town suffers some weather. Doesn't mean we need outsiders lifting the lid on our outhouse. Derry can take care of her own. You prick, asshole, fucknut. Useless. He turns and leaves. Beverly's apartment. A slummy apartment over Lower Main Street. Beverly's dad, Mr. Marsh, late 30s, still in his janitor's uniform from Derry Home Hospital, sits passed out in front of the TV. Entering the apartment, Beverly quietly tiptoes past him. Beverly dumps out her knapsack. Among her belongings, she finds a postcard with a familiar poem. From the living room, her father clears his throat. Is he up? Taking the chances, she hurries into the bathroom with the postcard, shuts the door, and locks it. She reads the poem, aloud to herself. Your hair is winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there too. It's from your secret admirer. Beverly blushes, sees that there isn't any return address, and she wonders who it could be from as she hears, "Help me," a child's voice. Beverly looks around for the voice, startled. "Help me, Beverly." It comes from the sink drain above her head. She leans forward over the basin, looking down into the dark void. Is someone there? Bev's eye peers down through the circle of light. We all want to play with you. She gasps. The single voice turns into a cacophony, bubbling up through the ages. Play with us, Beverly. Come play with the clown. You'll float. Terrified, Beverly dashes out. Bill's mom washes the dishes while Bill sits at the table and eats a bowl of ice cream. Zach flips through a Popular Mechanics. Still in his overalls from Derry Public Works. Did you guys see the brochure? No response. Finally, his dad stirs. Sorry? Acadia. I thought we could start planning our park trip this year. His dad stops mid-flip. looks to Bill's mom, who's on edge. Otter Cove, Bubble Pond, Cadillac Mountain. His mom throws a dish and, unable to compose herself, storms upstairs. All the air goes out of the room. What did I say? Zach wants to respond, but can't. He goes to the sink and turns off the faucet. Sorry, champ. Your mom and I, if it's about money, I'll mow lawns, paint fences, whatever. It's not that. He fiddles with his wedding ring. Zach is too upset to look his boy in the eye. Your brother just looked forward to his trip so much, it was his favorite. He takes Bill's bowl of ice cream, throws it into the sink, and goes. Bill's spoon left hanging over nothing. Mine, too. Beverly's apartment, living room, night. Bev finds her father, 40s, now sleeping in front of the TV. His tool belt is thrown up on the coffee table. She creeps over and steals the tape measure. Beverly stands over the sink basin, tape measure in hand. The voice is silent. Hello? She unfurls the tape into the drain, its tip disappearing into the void. Foot by foot, she snakes the tape into the drain until it's fully extended at 20 feet. She waits for a voice. Nothing. Slowly, she begins to reel the tape back in, counting down the length as it winds back in. 16 feet, 15 feet, 14 feet. At 13 feet, viscous blood coats the tape. Beverly gasps and drops the measure. It goes clattering into the sink, the tape coiling up like a snake, blood flickering everywhere as she stumbles back, tripping onto the shower. Blood gouts up from the sink drain. Like a demonic ejaculation, blood spatters the mirror, the wallpaper, bouncing off walls and covering Beverly. She screams and runs out the door. Right into her father, who comes charging up the hall. He screams again, recoiling away. You okay, Bevy? In the bathroom. He places his hand on her cheek, tender. Daddy's here now. It'll be okay. He takes her hand, and they step into the bathroom. But Mr. March looks around, eyes wide, blood spattered everywhere, but the blood doesn't register with him. Bevy, child, what's my tape measure doing out of my tool belt? He steps over and grabs the blood-coated tape, clipping it onto his belt, blood on his hands now, too. You should ask me if you want to touch my things. I ask you, don't I? He doesn't seem to see any of it. Only Beverly can. She realizes this. He pulls back the shower curtain, leaving behind bloody fingerprints. A spider scurries toward the drain. What was that, a spider? Bev's speechless. She staggers back. He catches her wrist. Bevy, you okay? Yes, that's it, the spider. Mr. Marsh smiles. I thought so. They can't hurt you. You know that, don't you? He crushes the spider under his boot, grinding it in. Yes, sir. I'm sorry for waking you. He comes over to her, smoothing out her hair over her forehead, proprietary. The blood on her face like finger paint. This is what scares Bev the most. You worry me, Bev. You worry me a lot. I know, Daddy. He rests his forehead against hers and breathes in her scent. You're growing up so quickly. He looks her up and down. You were Daddy's little girl and now you're changing. Tell me you're still Daddy's little girl. She averts her eyes, nods, placating. Satisfied, he goes back down the hall to his game. Beverly darts into her bedroom, slamming the door behind her. Angle on a wet, dark spot on the ceiling at night. It grows on a white plaster ceiling, the first droplet of water forming. Slow motion as it breaks away and falls through space. It falls onto Bill's face. He doesn't stir. More droplets follow. Tap, tap, tap. And then finally, Bill awakes and looks up at it. A leak in the ceiling. Bill flips back his covers. Bill grabs a bucket from the utility closet and walks back and sees the door open to Georgie's room with the light on. Bill enters, the room frozen in time. Georgie's toy box is open, a Lego turtle standing next to it, as if it's taken out to play. Bill picks it up and sits down, turtle in hand. He indulges in the sadness that has engulfed his home for months. The loss of his brother hitting him full force. He closes his eyes to fight back the tears, but he cannot. He cries for Georgie. Photographs of Georgie, illuminated by passing cars, seem to watch him from the walls. A shadow seems to stretch across Georgie's room from the doorway. Bill looks up, but no one is there. Bill steps out of Georgie's room and finds dark footprints in the carpet. He leans down and touches one, squishy and wet. They track down the dark staircase. Bill, heart pounding, follows the wet footprints down the stairs, careful not to step in any of them. Dad? At the bottom of the stairs, Bill finds the footprints lead toward the kitchen, where... Ma? Bill sees a yellow flash of something ducking around the corner. Startled, Bill drops the Lego turtle, which smashes into pieces and scatters across the wood floor. Bill looks back up the stairs, half expecting his parents to wake up. Nothing but an eerie silence. He gathers his courage and follows the wet footprints into the kitchen. Bill steps in face to face with the cellar door, the door creaking closed, lights snapped on behind it, footprints disappearing down into the cellar. He slowly approaches the door and reaches out for the handle, but stops with second thoughts. He starts backing away, too spooked to go down, when he hears a child weeping behind the door, and then, with his voice quivering, "Georgie?" Bill opens the door, rickety stairs leading down into the darkness, the weeper somewhere in the recesses, along with the steady sound of a leak. Steeling himself, Bill descends. He gets to the last few rungs and is thrown off for a moment, seeing his reflection in the basement floor, as if it were a black mirror. He realizes the cellar has flooded. Bill looks up towards the leaking/weeping sound and sees, curled in the same corner where we had the opening point of view, Georgie in his yellow slicker. Rain rolling off him like he's still in a storm flooding the cellar. He looks up at Bill, his skin bloodless, paper thin. "I lost it, Billy, don't be mad." "Georgie?" Bill moves to step into the water, when he hesitates, holding his foot over it. He looks to Georgie, whose expression of distress seems insincere. "It just floated off, but, Bill..." Bill grabs a rake from the wall and pokes its tip into the water. Impossibly, it goes all the way to the hilt. "If you come with me, you'll float too." Water and muck pour from his mouth as he says these last words, an endless cascade. Bill recoils, backpedaling up the steps. Georgie starts to glide over the water toward Bill, who realizes there is a creature beyond it, white face half submerged like a crocodile, propping up Georgie's body like a meat puppet. Pennywise begins to surface. Horrified, Bill bolts up the steps, slamming and locking the basement door behind him. Bill runs out of the kitchen, sliding on the scattered Legos and cutting his feet. He bounds up the stairs right into his dad, wearing PJs. His mom shows at the door, not happy. "Easy, what's with all the slamming?" Bill and Zach stand over the stairwell. Zach turns the light on and walks down, much to Bill's horror. "Dad, don't!" into a puddle of water. "Dry as a bone, Bill. Sure it wasn't just a dream?" Bill holds himself too freaked out to speak. Travis Bauer's house. Bedroom. Day. Travis puts cream on fresh belt lashes across his back. all around him on the walls are posters of monster trucks. A honk from outside. He throws down his shirt and goes into the living room, passing his father, Officer Bowers, in his knockoff lazy boy, drinking a beer and watching the newest episode of Cops. Where are you off to? Out with the guys. Travis goes to pass him. Officer Bowers reaches out and stops his son from going any further. Travis tightens. He knows the routine all too well. Vic's house. Probably stop at Red Apple first, pick up some things. Officer Bowers stares him down, like he isn't sure what to do with his son. Most likely knock him around some more, but nah, too much work right now. Get me another beer from the fridge before you leave. Travis runs out to Victor and Belch, waiting in Victor's Trans Am. Belch is in the passenger seat. Out. I thought, did I fucking stutter? Belch gets in the back. You hear from Hockstead or any? Vic and I are wondering. Who cares? What about your dad? He get on you about the knife? That fat ass knows he touches me, I'll rip his head off. Now can you fucking drive, please, and thank you very much? Where to? As if to answer his question, Mike rides by on his bike, off to collect more payments. Go! Bill and Richie wait, as Ben, Stanley, and Eddie join them in the lower Main Street. What's going on? Bev called. She's freaked out about something. She told us to wait here until... Beverly bursts out of the apartment building. You made it. I need to show you guys something. What is it? Did we just win the Publishers Clearinghouse $10 million sweepstakes? If Ed Mahowen is in there, I'm going to lose my I just need to know I'm not crazy. But my dad will kill me if he finds out I had boys in our apartment. We'll leave a lookout. Richie? Yeah, whatever. Ed McCohen can wait. Bill, Stanley, Ben, and Eddie go off with Beverly. Beverly opens the door. Afternoon sunlight illuminates floating dust motes as Bill, Ben, Stanley, and Eddie follow her to the closed bathroom door. In there. What are we about to walk into? You'll see. She has no intention of going in. Bill pushes past Ben and opens the door. Oh God, oh God. Still there. Faded into maroon clouds on the mirror and wallpaper. Eddie reels back into the hallway with Beverly. She looks from Ben to Bill. You see it? Bill nods. What happened? Beverly is so relieved she almost cries. The sink, it came out from there. My dad couldn't see it. I thought I was going crazy. You're not going crazy. I saw something too. Georgie. You did? Like a ghost. No, he tried to get me to go into the basement with him. It wasn't just him either. I saw this other, I don't know. What did you see, Bill? The clown, right? Bill doesn't say anything, which says it all. Eddie starts to hyperventilate. Everyone looks over at him. You okay, Eddie? Go outside. Keep Richie company, okay? Eddie just nods and walks out the door. We can't leave it like this. Bill, Stanley, Ben, and Beverly clean like grim elves, using a bucket of hot water, Ajax, and some cloth rags. Slowly, the blood washes out. Reaching for the same rag, Bill and Bev's hand touch, a spark between them. Eddie and Richie stand lookout on the curb below. Eddie still disturbed by what he saw. So much blood. While Ben and Stanley carry out trash bags of soaked towels, Bill and Beverly pour the last bucket of pink water down the bathtub drain, the bathtub now as clean as it ever was. The bucket is filled with blood-stained rags. January embers. Huh? The poem. I don't really know much about poetry. He turns on the faucet to flush out the sink. Oh, never mind then. They wash the water cyclone around the drain, hoping the awkwardness will get flushed away too. It's not true what they say about me, you know. I know, I never believed them. None of us do. We like hanging with you. Beverly smiles, relieved, shutting off the water. Thanks, Bill. Don't thank me too much. Unfortunately, according to most people, hanging out with us makes you a loser. Ben stands, stunned at the wonder of being in her room. He hears a giggle and looks out into the hall. He sees Bill and Bev at the end of it having their moment. A puddle. Reflection of the losers ripple away as they push their bikes through it, walking along the stretch of Kansas Street that borders the Barrens. Beverly looks over at Bill, his brow furrowed, like he's trying to solve a complicated math problem in his head. What is it, Bill? All that blood at your place, and you say your folks didn't see any of it. Last night at my house with Georgie in the water, my dad just acted like everything was normal. I think if you're a grown-up, they can't see it. Can't see what? It. That's why the cops won't help. Our parents, teachers. They stop, because up ahead they see Victor's Trans Am parked on the side of the road. We should wait. He points to Mike's bike tangled in the weeds next to it. Isn't that Mike's? We have to help him. We do? If we don't, who will? That could be any one of us. A pile of fresh ground meat, raw, bloody. A fly buzzes around it like jackpot. Eat it. Belch and Victor continue laughing as Travis's work boot pushes Mike's head closer to the meat in the dirt. Mike tries to resist, but Travis pushes harder. We're in the Barrens. Eat it, you fucking mutt. Mike's nose touches the wet meat. The faintest squish. Travis pushes down again. Mike's hand slips in the gravel and splat. His face goes into the meat. Travis and his boys whoop it up. Still flat on the ground, Mike wipes the meat off his face, and even in the midst of this, something bright red in the brown and green barrens catches his eye. A clown? Watching from the fringe, applauding the wham! Mike gets kicked in the head. Damn, that hurt. Pushed to the brink, he forgets what the fuck he just saw, grabs a fistful of meat, and whips it up at Travis and his boys, covers them in blood and ribbons of lamb and beef. Mike tries to scramble away, but Belch hooks him by the collar and throws him back down in the gravel. Travis jumps up on top, grabs a handful of gravel, and wham! Travis gets hit hard in the face with a rock. That'll leave a nasty wound that won't go away for the rest of our story. Attention snaps over to the losers, standing like saviors. Holy shit. Nice throw. Thanks, but don't act so surprised. To Mike. Run! Mike uses the second of distraction to push off Travis and get back to his feet. He races over to join the losers. Rock war! Wham! Richie gets pegged with a rock thrown by Belch. Maybe he should have kept his trash mouth shut. Losers pick up more rocks and start whipping them at Travis, Victor, Patrick, and Snatch. The Bowers gang returns fire. Everyone ducks for cover, trying not to get hit. It's a brutal battle. Cornered, Bill yells out his orders. Run! They do, and don't stop until they're safe. As they catch their breaths on Canal Street, Mike turns to the group. Thanks, but you shouldn't have done that. He'll be after you too now. Travis? He's always after us. I guess that's the one thing we all have in common. Yeah. Homeschool, welcome to the Losers Club. Off our losers, titled card over a manhole cover marked Derry Public Works, July. A foot steps over it as we pan up to the town prepares for a celebration, red, white, and blue. Banners, fireworks for sale signs. A brass band rehearses. Ben. I was thinking about it. Ironworks explosion 1904, Bradley Gang in 32, the Black Spot in 59, and now with Georgie, Dorsey, and the rest, it seems like all this bad stuff happens every 30 years. We find the losers in Monument Square on a bench by Paul Bunyan's statue. So what, this town is cursed? That's what my grandfather thinks. All eyes go to Mike. You guys know what a haunt is? You mean like a who you gonna call sense? No, not like that. A haunt can also mean like a feeding ground for animals or for something else. My grandmother thinks that all the bad things that happen in this town are caused by one thing, an evil thing that feeds off the people of Derry. But it can't be one thing. We're all seeing something different. Yeah, but I think it's because it uses our worst fears to scare us. I guess that's why I'm seeing Georgie. I saw a walking infection. What did you see, Mike? Anything? Hands, lots of hands, melted together by fire. Oh my God, that sounds awesome! Well, what are you afraid of? Clowns. Bill can't sleep. He lays in bed, eyes wet with tears, as he stares at the lone walkie-talkie on his shelf. He can't bear to look at it any longer, so he rolls over to his other side, which is why he doesn't see the walkie's power light blink green, and moment holds before static. Bill sits up and looks over at the walkie. Its talk light blinks on, off, on. He reaches for it when, through the walkie. Bill? Bill? Georgie? He grabs the walkie. Help, Bill, I'm scared. Where are you? It's dark. It's like a tunnel and upside down. A burst of static, loud, before silence. Bill, eyes red, tears hot. Georgie! Georgie! Bedroom door opens. It's Zach, backlit by the dim light on the hallway as he says, Bill, what the hell's going on in there? Why aren't you sleeping? Clutching the walkie, Bill looks up at his father. So much to say, but would he listen? Would he believe? Bill decides. It's nothing. Sorry. Go back to sleep. He shuts the door. Shadows return. Darkness, and then bright white light illuminates the sewer map taped to the back wall of Denborough Garage. The light is from an old carousel slide projector Bill has positioned on a couple of stacked boxes. The losers huddle around it like a campfire. Did you bring the map? Ben pulls a slide out of his pocket and hands it over. Bill inserts the slide into the tray of the projector. He clicks the advance button and, ka-chunk, carousel tray rotates. An old map of Derry is overlaid with the sewer map. Look, there's the ironworks. There's the black spot. Everything has all happened connected by the sewers, and they all meet up at the well house. It's in the house on Neibolt Street. Eddie takes a puff of his inhaler. You mean that creepy-ass house where all the junkies and hobos like to sleep? I hate that place. It always makes me feel like it's watching you. That's where it lives. Eddie goes over to the sewer map and rips it off the wall. Can we stop talking about this? This is summer. We're kids. We're supposed to... I agree with Eds. No, put the map back. Ka-chunk. Projector tray rotates. So it's back to being a white square of light shining on Eddie. No more map of Derry. What happened? It rotates again. Mike tries to stop it. Suddenly, old vacation slides from Acadia National Park appear, the Denborough family in happier times, when Georgie was still alive. There they are hiking, and they're swimming. There Georgie is on the edge of the lake, and there he is again. And again. Same photo. Again. Wait a minute. The carousel continues to spin, that same slide, but now it looks as if Georgie is moving. Bit by bit, the entire scene is becoming animated. Ripples in the lake, Georgie turning to the camera, an expression of pure fear on his face. Georgie? What the fuck? Ka-chunk, Georgie runs towards the camera. Turn it off! No one moves, fixed on this event. Turn it off! As Georgie continues to run, no sound, but his mouth screaming for help, as he looks back towards the lake and... What does he see? Stanley goes over and pulls the cord. Ka-chunk. That doesn't do shit. Georgie! Georgie runs off frame as the thing he was running from appears. God damn! It's Pennywise. In the middle of the lake, standing on water, waving at the camera. At the losers. At us. Holy shit. That's it. That's him. Carousel spins faster and faster, which makes Pennywise wave smoother and smoother, until in the span of a click, Pennywise appears right up against the camera. The losers scream. Mike kicks the boxes, and the carousel crashes to the ground. No more Pennywise on the wall. Phew. How did that even happen? It saw us. It knows who we are now. It always did. At least he's gone now. Guys? Yeah, but for how long? Guys? We need to... Guys? They look over at Beverly. She's staring at something above them. They follow her gaze up to the ceiling, where the carousel is now projecting. With more space between it and the ceiling, the square frame is bigger now, and so is Pennywise, staring down at them with a freeze-frame snarl, until he pops out of the frame. Fast at first, but then almost in slow motion, as if he's diving into the frigid waters of our reality. He reaches out towards Beverly. She falls to the floor and tries to distance herself, but it isn't going to help. He's just about to grab her when the garage door opens, flooding the room with light, which in turn makes Pennywise disappear. The losers look over at it. Ben by the garage door opener. Thanks, Ben. Good thinking. He walks over to her, helps Beverly get back on her feet. Stanley looks over at Richie, his face pale, his mouth open, his mind blown, his fear palpable. No jokes this time, Rich. Richie shakes his head, doesn't have anything to say. For the first time in his life, uneasy silence broken by, "Okay, let's go." Go where? Neibolt. That's where Georgie is. We have to go. After that? No way. Yeah, I'm with Stanley. Fine, then don't. Wait, Bill. But he doesn't wait. Bill hops onto his bike. That thing took my brother. I'm going. He takes off. Bill hops off his bike at 29 Neibolt Street and stares at the house. A little less brave now that he's there. As he walks, he thrusts his fists against the post and still insists. A lone bird squawks across the sky, somewhere overheard. Startles him. He stops, regards the house. Not sure he can really do this. Bill? He looks over and sees Beverly and the rest of the losers riding into view. They skid to a stop beside him. You can't go in there. This is crazy. Somebody could get hurt. Eddie puffs his inhaler. His eyes lock on the porch, where he saw Pennywise earlier. I already said you don't have to come in with me, but what happens when another Georgie goes missing, or another Dorsey, or one of us? Are you just going to pretend it isn't happening like everyone else in this town? Because I can't. I can't go home. All I see is Georgie, but he isn't there. His clothes, his toys, his stupid stuffed animals, but Georgie, he isn't. He points to Neibolt. So walking into that house, for me, it's easier than walking into my own. He trudges up to 29 Neibolt. His speech settles in. Wow. He didn't even stutter once. Richie follows him. Soon they all do. At the windows, the losers cup their hands around their faces, trying to get a sense of what awaits them inside, but I can't see shit. Bill steps back and over to the front door, reaches out for a knob as a breeze blows, an unnatural one, and clack, the door unlatches. He looks back at the others. They're all staring at the door, wondering what's beyond. Freaked out, Eddie takes another puff of his inhaler. Richie grabs it from him and does the same. He coughs. Gross. It tastes like battery acid. Eddie snatches it back. As Bill is about to open the door, wait! They look at Mike. Mike steps off the porch and picks up a broken wrought-iron fence rod. He holds it like a weapon. Good idea. They all scatter and search in the yard. A brick, a sharp-ended stick, whatever they can find. Richie picks up an empty beer bottle and smashes it against a rock, just like they do in the movies. Harder than it looks. When he does finally manage to break it, it just shatters into a million useless pieces. He looks to Mike. I'll just stand behind you. Moments later, the losers reunite on the front porch and nod to Bill. Okay, now or never. Bill pushes the front door open and takes us inside. The Neibold house. Condoms, candy wrappers, cigarette butts litter the floor. Old magazines and newspapers stacked so high it's like they're holding up the second floor. And graffiti is everywhere. Screw Derry. Just say yes. Class of who the fuck cares. Everything about this place feels like a nest made by junkies and serial killers. Shredded carpet, broken furniture. The losers take it all in. This place stinks. I can smell it. I smell it too. Don't breathe through your mouth. Why? 'Cause then you're eating it. He picks up a water-stained magazine. It's the famous Monsters of Filmland. On the cover, a werewolf. Beverly sees an old lantern on one of the shelves, right next to a dismembered doll. She tries turning it on. It flickers to fluorescent life. If there's a well here, it'd have to be in the basement, right? Does this place even have a basement? I hope not. Let's find out. He moves towards the kitchen, but from upstairs, we hear a child's voice. Hello? Is someone there? Eyes shoot up to the ceiling above them. Ben looks over at Bill and wonders softly. Georgie? Bill shakes his head. No. Hello? Over to the foot of the stairs. Down here! We're down here! We slowly push up the steps, leaving the losers behind as we drift down the upstairs hallway. Rotted, water-stained wallpaper with elves on it. Peels like dead skin from scummy walls. Ripped orange carpet. As we approach the far corner, we begin to hear from just around the other side a low-frequency buzz. It's unsettling, and growing louder the closer we get. From around the corner, help me please, footsteps up the stairs. We spin around to see Beverly standing at the top of the steps. Wait, Bev! The other losers cram themselves around her. We need to be cautious. Hello? They move down the hall. Floorboards creak and groan under them as they each take steps, as if any moment the floor might give way, which it will, but not yet. The losers look into the biohazard bedrooms as they pass, near the corner at the end of the hall. You guys hear that? They listen to the slightest as they turn and another hallway. A nearby corroding plug the source of the buzz. The losers continue on, fixated on the door at the end of the hallway. But behind them, squeak, squeak, they turn. Shit. Pennywise. Pedaling an old rusted tricycle. Its front wheel bent. Squeak, squeak. He stops right by the plug. The losers press themselves against the wall. Each grab hold of the other standing next to them. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Buries his face into Richie's shoulder. He can't look. Where's Georgie? In a child's voice. Who's Georgie? Oh. Who's Georgie? He laughs. Eyes the children. Counting. Boy meat, boy meat, boy meat, boy meat, boy meat. Ooh. Girl meat. Yes, sweet, salty, blood-gorged girl meat. He inches forward, breathing in deep. Use your thin blue veins like straws, little ears like spoons. That plug sparks. Pennywise looks over at it. Ahem. Armpits and cowlicks, freckles and dimples. Peachy fuzz, scabbed knees, squeals and screams. Spark buzzes. Pennywise presses on, ignoring it. They all reek so good. Pennywise stops, considers the plug. pulls out the tiniest screwdriver ever from his coat, kneels and tightens the plug screws. But the buzzing continues. And then, the light bulb. A better idea. From his sleeve, Pennywise yanks out a bigger screwdriver, like ridiculously big, like it was bought at Acme. And this he jams into the socket. Electricity surges through Pennywise. His collar smokes, hair catching fire. He laughs maniacal. An explosion of sparks reveals Pennywise has transformed into a gruesome creature. His bulging eyes big and his toothy demonic grin even bigger. He lunges for the kids. They scream and scatter. As they run, the floor gives out behind them. Below is just a pit of blackness. It divides the group from Eddie. Teetering on the edge, he turns, about to fall in, but a hand reaches out and grabs him and pulls him upright. Eddie is relieved. Until he looks down at the hand holding him, oozing with open sores as we pan up to realize it's the hand of the hobo. "Hi, Ed." Ed faints and falls through the hole. We go through with him, landing hard somewhere in the blackness. His arm snaps and he screams, "My arm!" Above him, Beverly trips and her lantern rolls off the edge and lands beside Eddie. Light still on, illuminating the kitchen. Windows blacked out with tinfoil and newspaper. Eddie tries to get to his feet, but more debris falls on top of him, pinning him down by the old busted refrigerator. Upstairs hallway. The losers scramble trying to find a way out. Monstrous Pennywise has disappeared. They realize, "Eds, we need to get Eddie!" In the kitchen, using his good arm, Eddie tries to dig himself out from under the pile that has him pinned, faster and faster, as refrigerator door opens, revealing Pennywise. Contorted into an impossibly small space, he unfolds and untangles himself from inside the refrigerator. He straightens, reaches down and grabs hold of Richie's broken arm. Nearby, a door opens. An orange glow pulsates inside, illuminating a set of stairs leading down to the basement of Neibolt. Nothing good happens down there. Time to float! Pennywise drags Eddie toward the basement door. Eddie screams some more. Behind them, the losers appear in the kitchen, united. They grab hold of Eddie, trying to pull him from Pennywise. Pennywise opens his mouth, snarling. Richie grabs Eddie's inhaler from his holster. "Try some battery acid, asshole!" He puffs the inhaler in Pennywise's face. The clown screeches like it's burning through his skin. He lets go of Eddie, allowing the losers to pull Eddie away as Mike throws the fence post at Pennywise, spikes him in the chest. The losers haul ass back into the living room. "Go, run!" Richie is pulled out and the kids stumble through the sunflowers to their bikes. Away from Neibolt, the whole house seems to laugh at them from behind as Eddie balances himself on Ben's bike. Ben looks over, sees Beverly wrapping her arms around Bill as they ride together. Eddie's house. Mrs. Casbrack shoves Eddie into the back seat, hysterical. You did this!" She slams the door on Eddie and fumbles for her keys. "You know how delicate he is. We were attacked, Miss K. Don't even try to blame someone else." Mrs. Casbrack pulls out all sorts of garbage from her purse until she finds the keys, dropping them. "Let me help." She smacks Beverly away. "Back! Get back! What a little girl even doing with a gang of boys? If I was your mother, I'd be sick! Sick! Miss K, I swear!" "No, you're monsters. Reckless, selfish monsters. Eddie's done with you, you hear? Done." She jumps into the front seat and turns the engine. "I don't want to see any of your faces ever again." She slams the door and the car squeals out of the driveway. Bill and the kids stand all ragtag there, low and shaken. Bill, Richie, Beverly, Stanley, Ben, and Mike walk along. "We'll need to go back. Prepare this time." "You're crazy." "Why? He's right. No one else is going to do anything." "Eddie was nearly killed by some shape-shifting demon monster that almost used my guts for garters." but we heard it. That's something. Great. So next time, it will be just madder and bigger and not mess around to kill us. We can't pretend it's going away, 'cause it's not. Ever. You know that. You did your research. So I'll go away and not come back. Not my problem anymore. You can't wait to get out of this town either, you said. Because I want to run towards something, not run away. That's what cowards do. Ouch. This burns Ben. Oh, who invited you into the group anyway? Let's face facts. Real world. Georgie is dead. Stop trying to get us all killed like you got him killed. A deep cut. Richie moves to go, but Bill blocks him. I didn't get my brother killed. Out of the way, Bill. You couldn't save him, but you can still save yourself. Just take it back. You're scared. We all are, but take it back. They start shoving each other. Shoves turn to punches. A pounding of pent-up anger, pent-up fear. Bill lands a heavy blow and Richie falls to the ground hard. He gets up. His face stings red. You're just a bunch of losers and you'll get yourself killed trying to stop this stupid killer, and none of it will make a difference. Richie and Bill start to go at it again, but Mike and Ben step in to separate them. Ben checks Bill to the pavement. Beverly pushes Ben away. What are you doing? Stop! She drops to Bill's side. Ben is crushed. Richie's right. Bill doesn't care about anybody but himself. We all have shit too. I'm sick of it. He and Stanley help Richie up. This is what it wants. It wants us divided. That's what it was doing in Neibolt, separating us. Well, it got what it wants, but at least I'm alive, and I plan on staying that way. Richie, Ben, and Stanley go, but Bill looks to Beverly and Mike. Mike splits off from them too. Mike, wait. No, I can't do this. I should have listened to my grandfather. I'm an outsider. I need to stay that way. We're all outsiders. No, you're not. He walks away, leaving only Bill and Bev. We see Derry streets, Warehouse Row, City Center, Memorial Park. A lone patrol car creeps down West Broadway, passing the synagogue. Stanley is reaching the Devar Torah part of his bar mitzvah ceremony, nervously finishing his verse from a scroll. Mayan Sho Shelaza. He glances up at his mom, who refuses to smile. At Richie seated in the back, and then at the rabbi, who nods. Go on. Reflecting on what I just read, I like what it says about indifference. When you're a kid, his eyes fall on the empty seats next to Richie. It rattles him. Stanley? Well, when you're a kid, you think the universe revolves around you, and that you'll always be protected and cared for, and then one day something bad happens and you realize it's not true. Hanlon Abattoir. A sheep stands in its pen, separated from its flock. Leroy hands Mike the stun-bolt gun. Like, let's try this again. Suns go out, and animals go extinct, and whole nations go crazy and kill a people they don't like, and none of it seems to matter. Mike aims the stun bolt. Whomp. The sheep falls dead. Beverly brushes her hair. Her eyes spot the smallest fleck of blood on one of the tiles. She can't look away. That's why our friends and family and faith are so important. Bill sits at the dinner table eating alone. We matter, even if to the universe. Ben looks up at a painting of the first Derry settlement in the public library. At first, it appears like the fur trappers are on the hunt, lying in the prone position, but closer inspection reveals we're too small to notice. They're dead, because whatever they were hunting found them instead. As we push in the well house, we cut to a title card over the Penobscot River. August. Tilt down to the overhead shot of what we expected to be Derry 1989, but instead we see nothing, just the intersection of a stream and river and the surrounding wilderness, towering black pines, as far as the eye can see. This is Derry in 1637. Abigail, 19, rushes in and slams the door of the well house, as if she's trying to keep Satan himself out. She clutches her baby to her breast, kneels by dying embers in the hearth. She blows on them, but a flame never catches. Her baby starts to fuss. "Hush now, shh, it'll be..." She stops, realizes that the small candle chandelier slowly spins above her, as if some unnatural force has caused its light to rotate around the room like primitive searchlights. She hears something slithering in the gray shadows by the well. Occasionally, we catch glimpses of the black silhouette, shifting its shape, as if trying to decide on a form. "Please, devil, let us be..." Shape shifts again. A beam of light passes, revealing Pennywise, naked, lithe, flesh pale and translucent, a half-formed imitation of a human. He opens his maw full of large, razor-sharp teeth dripping with saliva. As the tin can spins clockwise, Pennywise moves counter around the room. Each time the light hits his face, it's different. A man, a woman, a beast, a monster. Tim Curry. "You mistake me, woman. No mere devil. I am the eater of worlds." His voice is guttural, unnatural. "But my child, not my child. He is innocent." "So you say." The baby screams. Pennywise smiles. "Beautiful fear. I pray thee, take me." Abigail shuffles back. "I will, and then him, and thy husband, and the rest of thy children, and all the savages who brought you here. And when you all rot in the earth, I will pick the bones dry until no meat is left to pick. And then I will seek out thy bones and consume thy souls until nothing is left but the weeds. Or you will occupy yourself otherwise and not interfere. I will take her, and you will live. And those of thy other children, in whom I take no interest, and you will thank me, fever and frost did not damn you to the soil." Abigail looks down at her baby again. She is shaking, doesn't want to let go. Behind her, the door opens. A little boy, 6, asks, "Mama?" "No, out now!" Frightened by his mother, the boy runs. Abigail turns to Pennywise, wherever he may be now in the room. The light somehow seems to spin faster now. She kisses her baby and sets it down. It bawls. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." She turns away from the baby, faces those dying embers. We keep on her face as they seem to begin glowing brighter as, over her shoulder out of focus, Pennywise crawls over to the baby and starts to feast. Sharp cry from the baby cut off as we hear a crunch. Abigail continues to look into the bright orange glow of not the flickering fire, but the dead lights. Her expression changing, fear, denial, grief, acceptance, and then nothing, just a glazed look, as if nothing horrific is actually happening behind her. Travis Bauer's backyard. Day. Boom of a gun. A bottle of Southern Comfort sits on a log. Travis shoots at it with his dad's police issue .45. Victor and Snatch looking on, giggling. He finally tags it and the bottle shatters into 1,000 pieces. They all whoop and holler. "Can I try?" He reaches for the gun. Bowers pushes him back. "Sure. Go put out the next target out there." Travis points to the cat that's lounging there in the grass. "You're fooling, right?" "Do I look like I'm fooling?" Snatch grabs the kitty and runs out to the stump. He wipes away the glass and sets the cat down. It starts to meow and tries to get away. "Just hold it." Bowers lines up the shot, sights of the barrel on the cat. finger pressing the trigger. Wait! What the hell is this? Officer Bowers steps from his police cruiser in the driveway, his face as red as fire. Nothing, Pa. Just cleaning your gun like you asked. Cleaning my gun, huh? He stalks up and grabs the gun, smells it. Whap! He smacks Travis hard in the face, knocking the big boy to the grass. Butch turns the gun on Travis at his feet. You're not worth the salt you lick, boy. I don't know how God spanked life into you. Pa, Blam! He shoots the ground around Travis's feet. Travis squeals like a girl, utterly terrified. Blam, blam! A large wet stain spreads around his crotch. Butch Bowers raises the pistol, and as if he were about to whip Travis, he falls to the ground. Butch shakes his head. Look at him now, boys. Nothing like a little fear to make a paper man crumble. Clean your drawers before you come inside. He spits out his disgust and stalks inside. Bells ring. Keen's Pharmacy. Above the door as Eddie enters, his arm still in a cast, he sees Greta at the cash register, reading a 17 magazine. She watches him, amused, because she's bored. Here for the refills, Eddie? Eddie nods. Mr. Keen sighs and disappears in the back. Once they're alone, no friends, huh? Eddie looks around. She talking to me? Your cast. No signatures or anything. So sad. Eddie looks down at his cast. White, plain, and yeah, sad. I don't want to get it dirty. Greta leans on the counter, casts a quick look over the back counter, where her father could appear any minute. You know it's all bullshit. What is? Your medication. They're placebos. What does placebo mean? She shakes her head. This kid doesn't get it. Placebo means bullshit. Just what I said. Okay, here we are, Mr. Casbrack. Eddie looks over as Mr. Keen comes back with his medication. Ring, ring, ring. Beverly's apartment. Bedroom. Beverly picks up the phone. Hello? Bill on the phone. Hey, it's me. Beverly smiles, but still. You know not to call me here. What happened to our signal? Bill's bedroom. Bill stands at his desk. Below him through the floorboards, we can just make out his parents arguing. You answered before I could hang up. You okay? I'm fine. You hear from anyone? No. You? Bill doesn't answer. Doesn't need to. Feel like doing something? I don't like you being alone. I don't like you being alone either. As they talk, we drift out of the bedroom and down the hallway into the kitchen to find Mr. Marsh listening on the other line. Usual spot? 10 minutes? See you then. He hangs up. Travis does everything he can not to cry. You okay, Travis? An odd wind stirs through the grass there, a yellow menacing gathering of clouds overhead. Travis suddenly notices a balloon bobbing over his mailbox, string connected to something stuffed inside. Travis pushes past his two cronies and goes over to the mailbox. Inside, he pulls out the Rambo knife, the one he lost at the beginning. A murderous look screws into Travis's face as he turns his attention to his house and his dad inside. Travis snaps the string and starts towards the front door with the knife. The balloon rises up. Beverly stands in front of the mirror, buttoning up her shirt. Freezes when she sees behind her creak of her bedroom door as it opens. In the reflection, she can see her father standing at the threshold. Hi, Daddy. You look prettied up, Bevy. I'm not prettied up, Dad. I wear this almost every day. Who was that you were talking to just now? A friend. Mr. Marsh enters the room. Is that the boy you've been running around with? He's just a friend. Mr. Marsh sits on the edge of her bed. Well, come over here. Give your daddy a minute. She reluctantly goes over and gives him a kiss. He snatches her wrist as she pulls away. You know I worry about you, Bevy. I worry a lot. I know. She tries to go, but he holds onto her wrist. People in town got to saying some things about me. About you. Sneaking around all summer with a pack of boys. Only girl to the pack. They're just friends, Dad, I swear. I know what's in them boys' minds when they look at you, Bevy. All too well. He squeezes harder and it starts to hurt. Daddy, my hand. Your ma says you're a woman now. What's that mean? You've been doing womanly things in the woods with these boys? He jerks her closer to him, proprietary. Nothing. Please, Daddy. You don't have to worry, I promise. No? What's this? He pulls out Ben's postcard. It's nothing. It's just a poem. You squirreled it away in your undies drawer. Why'd you want to hide it there, Bevy? He looks at her legs. Slip down them shorts. What? I need you to prove to me you're still mine. Beverly tries to resist. No! Come here. No, Daddy! Bev wrestles away, falling back and smacking her head on the floor. She starts crabbing away on her back down the hall. Her dad lunges on top of her. Them little boys, Bevy. You know you're mine. Bevy knees him in the balls. Her father lets go, crumpling down. She kicks him in the face as hard as she can, his head flying back into the side of the door. Beverly tries to race out. But at the door, he snatches her ankle and she trips into the hallway. By the time she is up, he is already charging after her. She stumbles back into the bathroom and shuts the door, trying to lock herself inside. He kicks the door open before the lock catches. Without thinking, Beverly takes the toilet top and smashes it into her dad's crown. He slumps down unconscious. Suddenly from the faucet, from the shower, between cracks in the tile, blood gushes everywhere. Beverly runs back into the hallway. Pennywise stands there, balloons in hand. Beverly realizes she has nowhere to go. Pennywise releases the balloons. They float up and pop as they hit the ceiling, blood bursting out of them. Travis Bowers' house. The front door creaks open, Victor and Snatch poking their heads in. Travis? Mr. Bowers? Nothing. They see a streak of blood on the floor that leads to the kitchen and Butch Bowers on the linoleum floor in a red pool stabbed dozens of times. Holy fuck. Victor vomits. The cat slips in and starts licking up the blood. Travis, dude, you okay? Snatch continues on into the living room where he finds Travis sitting in Butch's favorite lazy boy in front of the TV, which is turned on to Pennywise the Clown Show. He holds the knife slicked in blood, his eyes glazed. He turns and looks at Snatch and Victor in the doorway. It's my knife now. On his bike, Bill makes endless figure eights. He keeps looking in the same direction, waiting for Beverly. He checks his watch and makes a decision. Bill sees the front door of Beverly's apartment ajar, pushes it open, revealing all the blood and Mr. Marsh, knocked out on the floor. Beverly? Beverly? Searching. Inside Beverly's bedroom, scrawled in blood, "You'll die if you try." Bill races out of the room. Final Fight, the side-scrolling arcade game. Richie plays, kicking and punching his frustration as he progresses through the game. We are inside the arcade. Richie is at the final boss battle. Finally! Anyone want to watch me? Richie! Bill races over as the final fight boss begins. It got Beverly. Richie looks at Bill, a moment between them. I'll call Eddie and Stanley. You get Ben and Mike. We'll meet up at the standpipe. Thanks. Hey, what are friends for, right? Richie and Bill leave. As we pan back to Final Fight to find Richie's player Cody getting the shit kicked out of him. Hope that isn't a sign of things to come. Probably is, though. The Kazbrak house. Eddie is on the phone with Richie. Meet you there. He hangs up, stares at himself in the mirror. Can he really do this? He can do this. About to go, Mrs. Kazbrak enters, licks her fingers clean of whatever she was eating earlier. Probably lots of things. And just where do you think you're going off to? Out with my friends. No, sweetie, you can't go. You're still getting over your sickness, remember? What sickness? My sickness? He goes over to his closet, pulls out the plastic bag, dumps out all the untouched medication. Mrs. Casbrack, horrified at the sight. Know what these are for? They're placebos. They're bullshit. No, they help you, Eddie. They help me. You were born so early that you were so delicate and fragile I had to protect you. How can any of this protect me? Eddie stops and realizes. The only people looking out for me were my friends. You made me turn my back on them when I really needed them, and now they need me, so I'm going. He charges past her and down the stairs. She stands at the top, and the bulk of her threatening to tumble down. Eddie, you get back here. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, Eddie. But Eddie does. He leaves. The losers are reunited at Monument Square, save for one. The serious nature of their task weighs on them. Richie sees Mike's stun-bolt. Better than a broken bottle. If anyone wants to bow out now, no. Remember what Beverly said. We all go, or none of us do. That's the only way we can defeat it. Bill nods. Then let's go to Neibolt. We cut to an old doo-wop record playing, amplified by distant and crummy speakers. You're my love, you're my angel, you're the girl of my dreams. On Beverly. She snaps awake. Where is she? It looks like a dark tunnel made of rubble and rust. I'd like to thank you for waiting patiently. A noise. She turns. At the far end of the tunnel, a shadow of Mr. Marsh appears on the wall, nightmarishly exaggerated. Daddy's home. Daddy's home to stay. Beverly stands, fists clenched, ready to go round two with her father, and then the record begins to slow down as the shadow morphs into a giant spider. Beverly scrambles the other way at the spider's shadow as it continues to grow. She chances a look back right when you think the spider is about to turn the corner. It's Pennywise instead, making shadow puppets with his hands. He stops and points behind Beverly. So scared is he. She spins and sees Pennywise right in her face. Beverly falls back out of reach. He approaches, towering over her, sharp teeth bared as she cowers. But wait! He stops. Something is off. But what? Clothes on Beverly's hand, fingers curled around a rock. I'm not afraid of you! Whack. She smacks him across the face with the stone, knocks Pennywise aside, and takes off running. Pennywise rises up, filled with rage. The boys drop their bikes on the lawn. They stare at the house that looms before them. This is it. As they walk up towards their probable deaths, they fail to notice Vic's Trans Am appear at the end of Neibolt, creeping along like a lion in tall grass. Travis slows to a stop. Like lambs to a slaughter, wouldn't you say, fellas? He looks over at Victor in the passenger seat and Belch in the back. They're both dead. Throats slit into gaping grins. Yeah, you sure would. Front door opens, stirs the dimness and the dust, and they enter. Where do you think she'll be? Basement, the well. That's where he was going to take Ed's, right? He looks over at Eddie, still at the threshold, rattled. As long as we don't let fear overtake us, we can do it. But we have to do it together. Eddie looks past Bill into the house, and then meets Bill's eyes, nods, and then enters. Still running and scrambling, Beverly rounds a sharp corner and steps into what Uncle Stevie calls the macroverse. I know it sounds expensive, but it isn't. Picture an endless field of black, like space or death. Beverly looks behind her. No way to turn back. Has to push forward. As the boys investigate further, the house wheezes with its creaks and groans, like it's been disturbed from sleep. Bang, bang, from the kitchen. The boys hurry in. Something bangs against the basement door from the other side. Bill rushes over. Wait, no! It could be her. He tries to open the door, but it's stuck in its frame. The others come over and help, and bang, it flies open. The boys fall back. A dozen red balloons float from the basement into the kitchen. Nothing beyond. It isn't her, it's him. Bill gets to his feet. Deep breath. Come on, stay close. He steps into the void. Richie, Eddie, and Stanley follow right behind him. Stairs shake and wobble with each step. On Bill, he steps off the stairs. Splish. He finds himself stepping into inches of water because he's now inside the sewer. Intestinal, exaggerated, like they were constructed by a child's dark imagination. Bill looks back for the others, but they're gone, along with the basement stairs. Guys? Hello? Richie, Stanley, Eddie, Ben, and Mike step off the basement, but no signs of Bill. He has vanished. Where's Bill? We were supposed to stick together. Bill? Bill searches for a way out, trying to remain calm, trying to remain brave, repeating over and over again. He thrusts his fists into the posts. He still insists he sees the... A shadow passes over him. Bill stops. Ghosts. Bill looks up, sees Pennywise smiling at Bill through a sewer grate. Blood drips from his teeth and down onto Bill. Bill swallows down his fear and stands his ground. Pennywise drools, deciding, not yet seasoned. But I know a boy meat that is. He laughs and steps away. Off Bill's oh shit look. The boys search the shadows of the basement for Bill. Somehow it seems more sprawling than the house above them. Near Eddie, did I just hear that whisper? Eddie! Eddie turns. Where did that come from? Bill? He creeps further into the shadows. Stops. Senses something off. He looks down at his feet as the floor opens up underneath him. He drops into a small room, like we're inside of a tumor. Walls made of scabs and scars. Floor cobbled with warts and ulcers. Eddie groans. I think I'm gonna be sick. Beyond him, the hobo appears and grabs him. I already am. Eddie screams. Ben turns, realizes. Where's Eddie? He was just here. It's separating us. We need to get help. They move towards the stairs, but Travis appears at the top. He starts to descend, blood-caked knife in hand. Bah! Guys, it's never good when a person with a knife starts making animal noises, especially when that person is Travis. Ben turns, searches for a way out, finds a rotted piece of plywood blocking the bottom of a rusted coal chute. Here, climb up! The others race over. As Travis steps off the stairs, Mike guards the chute with the stun bolt as the others squeeze themselves in and up. Mike, let's go! Mike crawls in, but the others aren't out yet. Shit, Mike! Just go, find the others. I'll hold Travis off. Mike? I came prepared, remember? He holds up the stun bolt. Mike ducks back out of the chute and faces his nemesis. Beverly continues through the thick fog of suffocating blackness. Sticks to her like cobwebs. She stops. Sees a flickering campfire in the distance illuminating a decrepit 19th century circus wagon. The same we saw in a daguerreotype of the old ironworks in the library. Its peeling billboard promises Pennywise the dancing clown. Tattered children's clothes, toys, and bones all scattered around its small painted wood wheels. From the wells nearby she hears, Hello, anyone? Bill? She races over to the well, looks inside, and sees a glowing orange light. It's dim, but the longer we look, the brighter it gets. Beverly tries to back away, but clack, snap. Chains whip out and wrap around her, holding her there. She can't look away. Her face goes slack. Come float with us, Bevy. Bill runs through the sewers, desperate. Up ahead, he hears Eddie screaming. He races in the direction of his howls. Eddie! He stops at the Derry Public Works maintenance door. Keep out. Bill looks through the small grated window to see the hobo wrangling Eddie, his hands of disease smothering Eddie's mouth as Eddie hyperventilates, or tries to. Fight it, Eds, fight it! Seeing Bill, Eddie's eyes go wide, Like a surge of life rushed into him. He relaxes, takes a moment, and then Eddie bites into the gooey flesh of the hobo. Stunned, Hobo realizes. Eddie scrambles to the door. He slips on the muck and disgusting on his way over. Gets up. He finds the hobo blocking his way out. "You look like you're coming down with something, Eddie." Eddie balls his hand into a fist and then smashes it right into the hobo's stomach. His fist travels through the blood and guts until it comes out the other side and grabs the knob. Eddie opens the door as he pushes the hobo aside and runs into the sewer and collapses into Bill's arms. He spits out bits of flesh. "I'm not scared anymore, Bill. I'm really grossed out, but I'm not scared." Travis swipes at Mike with the knife. Mike dodges it but slips and falls back. Stunbolt rolls away. "I told you to stay the fuck out of my town, didn't I?" He picks Mike up, throws him against the wall. Brick chunks fall, crashing through termite-infested wood, revealing the well. Stanley, Richie, and Ben climb, flinching as they hear bangs of the brawl between Mike and Travis. At the top of the chute, Stanley pushes open the access door, crawls out first, followed by Richie and Stanley. They stand, finding themselves in the macroverse. What is this place? Ben spots something in the distance. The flickering flames of a campfire, illuminating a circus wagon. And look, there's Beverly! Yes, Ben, it's her, kneeling by the well, that orange glow inside getting brighter and brighter. The boys race over to Beverly, trying to shake her out of the trance, but it's no use. "Beverly, it's me, Ben from Soch, remember?" What is she staring at? He's about to look inside, but Ben stops him. "No, don't." "'Cause she looked and, well, look, we need to find something to get her out of these chains." Stanley looks over at the circus wagon. "Maybe there's something in there." He races over, entering the circus wagon. Dusty old carnival show lights flicker on inside, illuminating the creepy, decaying interior. In the corner, Stanley sees a wood axe. He moves towards it, but... "Come to float, Stanley?" Stanley stops, terrified. Emerging from the shadows is Judith, from the painting in Rabbi's office, naked, skin stained red with the blood of holofernes, like she'd bathed in it. Stanley averts his eyes. Paint drips off her, streaking parts of her into abstract deformity, hinting at a gruesome layer underneath. "Look at me, Stanley, like you do in your daddy's office." She wipes her arms across her face, clearing away some of the dripping wet paint. Smile, smearing into a clownish grin. "I can smell your fear, your salted meat." She lunges on top of Stanley. He falls, knocking his head hard on the floor. Blacks out. Judith about to feed as Richie rushes in. Doesn't see Judith. Just Stanley, passed out on the floor. He goes over. "Come on, Stanley." Can't help but look at his clownish surroundings, circus posters, creepy clown figurines, clown paintings. Not the best place for this, Stan. A tune begins. All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. The monkey thought it was all in good sport. Richie looks over, sees a jack-in-the-box, a familiar clown painted on the side. Its handle slowly turns, and pop! Richie flinches. We all do, but nothing happens. In fact, the handle begins to turn again, and the song starts over. The basement. Mike is on the floor, trying to get to his feet. But the pain and the fear, it's starting to get the better of him. Oomph. Travis kicks him again while he's down. The orange glow reflecting off of Beverly's face is ever brighter, like it might start to burn her. "Please, Bev." Bill leads Eddie as they run. This way, that way. "Do you know where you're going?" An intersection. Bill stops, unsure, until he sees at the end of one tunnel an orange glow dimming the darkness. "This way!" He runs towards the glow, getting brighter as they get closer. The circus wagon. The monkey thought it was all in good sport. Pop goes the weasel. Nothing happens. Again. Richie tries to pull Stanley towards the door, but the dead weight is so heavy. I don't want to leave you, Stan. Come on, help. At the door of defeat, Ben hugs Bev, doesn't want her to go through this alone. In the first moment of passion in his life, he kisses her. Something inside Beverly, the light of life perhaps, flickers. Your hair is January embers. My heart burns there too. He squeezes her tighter until it's broken by Beverly. Ben! They look over as Bill and Richie run towards them. The monkey chases the weasel. The monkey thought it was all in good fun. It stops for an eternity, it feels like. Richie lets go of Stanley. He might run, and then Pennywise leaps out. Pop goes Richie! Richie screams. Pennywise, as if mounted to a spring, leans over Richie, ready to feed off of the fear. Richie is too scared to move. But as Pennywise gets nose to nose with Richie, his face morphs from flesh to the plastic skin of a toy clown. Hands grab Richie. He turns, freaking out, but, It's us, Rich, it's us! As Stanley starts coming back to consciousness, Bill, Eddie, and Richie help him out of the wagon. Nearby, Ben tries to free Beverly from her chains. Help, I can't! Come on, hurry! Richie, Eddie, and Stanley rush over to help. But Bill catches sight of something, running away from them in the distance. A small figure in a yellow rain slicker. Georgie! He takes off. No, Bill, wait! But Bill doesn't have time to wait. He races deeper into the darkness, chasing after his little brother. In the basement, Mike is on his knees, wobbly. Travis approaches with the stun bolt in one hand as he drags the compressed air canister along the floor behind him. Travis presses the pistol right against Mike's glabella. You know what that is. I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to kill all of your friends. Mike looks at Travis like he's given up, but then, no, you won't. Mike grabs Travis, holds him tight as he pulls him back, and they both disappear into the well, and we fall with them. Mike tumbles like a lost sock, catches sight of Travis falling further below, the stun bolt beyond him, and then he sees it. The perfect bright orange circle below. The losers, his friends, surrounding it. Sparks as Richie snaps the chains around Beverly with the axe. Now free, she stands up and gives Ben a hug. Thank you. They look around as the stun bolt rolls off the edge of the well and stops at Eddie's feet. That's Mike's. Screaming. As Travis falls from above into the bright orange lights, falling fast behind him is Mike. He hits the edge of the well. Ouch. He grabs it, but is slipping fast. Beverly dives over and grabs onto him for help. The others all join and start to pull Mike to safety as skitter, skitter, skitter. Up the side of the wall, a melting mess of hands appear, grab onto Mike's ankle, pulling him down into the dead lights. Afraid, Mike tries to kick them off, but he's losing the battle. He gathers his strength and his courage. Let me go! He punctuates each word with a kick. In the final one, the hardest one, the hands fall away and Mike is free. He's pulled to safety, but the safety is fleeting as the ground under their feet tremors, like it's the start of something big. We have to find Bill. Bill stops. He looks that way. No Georgie. This way? Georgie! He squints, sees something approach, coming at him fast. Is that George? Pennywise. Like a freight train at full speed, charges into Bill and picks him up by his collar, shoves him up against a wall that only now just appeared behind him. Pennywise and Bill face to freakish, fanged face. A feast for Pennywise, ripe fear, raw fright, a belly full of blood, dripping dread. Can you smell tasty Georgie on my breath, Bill? I bit down on his windpipe as his last words were uttered. Billy, he whimpered, Billy he wanted. Pennywise he feared, and Pennywise I fed. I still pick his little boy meat from my teeth. Flecks of flesh hit Bill in the face as he says this. Now I grow hungry again. You're gonna stay hungry. We're not scared of you anymore. None of us are. We're going to make your worst fear come true. In the blackness, they hear the losers calling out for Bill. The tremors find their way to Bill and Pennywise. Confused, Pennywise looks down at the ground. What's happening? He looks back up at Bill. You're going to starve. On Pennywise, that word starve. It lights a spark in his eyes we haven't seen before as it resonates in the ancestral cave of his mind like a chain reaction in a firework factory. Belief has turned against him, and probably for the first time in millenniums, it grips his heart, whatever that is. Pennywise drops Bill and retreats into the darkness. The other losers in the darkness, holding their torches high, searching for their leader. Bill! Bill! Up ahead. Over here! They run, shouting. Tremors turn to quakes. It's like the whole universe is about to collapse around them. Billy! There, up ahead on his knees, she helps him to his feet. Are you okay? Bill nods, even though he isn't. He took off. We need to find and kill it. It won't stop until we do. Bill grabs the stun bolt from Mike and heads off into the quaking darkness. The losers hunt Pennywise. With every encounter, it takes on one of their fears. Headless Child, Judith, Hand Creature, and every loser steps up and confronts it. Throwing their torches at it, letting go of their fears, causing it to retreat into the blackness until only Bill's torch remains. In its flickering light, they catch the faintest glimpse of Pennywise circling around them. A truce to be true, a deal to be struck. Ignore this, forget me, and I will let you all grow and thrive, living happy lives until you die. Happy deaths at age 101. No! No more! Pshh! Bill's torch extinguishes, leaving the losers huddled in the darkness. Maybe we should have at least discussed the deal first. Thin shafts of light appear, like the sun shining through a sewer grate, almost heavenly as they illuminate Georgie, in his rain slicker, holding his paper boat. Let him go, Bill. He said I could come back if you let him go. Please, Bill. Bill hesitates. It's really me, Bill. It's Georgie. He kept me here. You can take me home. You can save me. Bill is unsure. So badly wants to believe. Bill? He turns and sees Beverly with the rest of the losers. He faces back to Georgie, holding his arms out to Bill. Hug me. I want you back more than anything else. He takes a step forward to Georgie and he raises his arms. But not to hug him, because he has in his hands the stun bolt. But you're not Georgie. Georgie turns to Pennywise, razor teeth, ready to lunge. Blam! The stun bolt goes off, hits Pennywise right between the eyes. His face ripples like a rock hitting the surface of a lake, a concentrical nightmare with petals of horror that blossom and then wither away. The history of Derry's fears flash and form before their eyes, 1,000 nightmares conjured by the imagination of Derry's lost and eaten children. It is a wreath of screaming hands. It is a rotting flesh of disease. It is the fangs of a predator. It is a crown of bloody thorns. It is a floral ring at Georgie's memorial soaked in blood. It is a mouth that screams inside a mouth that screams inside a mouth that screams inside. It is, and it transforms back into a slithering, shapeless mass and slinks its way back to the well. The losers chase. As it disappears down to the bottom, we catch one last glimpse of Pennywise's face. He looks afraid as the darkness brightens. It isn't. And the losers find themselves in the basement, the 7 of them together. In the corner of the basement, Bill spots a dirty wet patch of yellow. He walks over and pulls at it, revealing Georgie's rain slicker. Bill falls to his knees and starts to cry. Months of pent-up anger and grief. He lets it all out. The other losers walk over and surround him, a circle of love and friendship. Bodies of children disgorge from the sewer pipes the losers found Dorsey's shoe in, into a swollen stream. It's hard at first to distinguish who is who. Everyone is covered in mud. Among them, a body blinks up and sits up. It's Travis. September. Riverbank, dusk. A glass shard glistens in the sun. A hand picks it up. Beverly's. She walks back to the group. Swear it, guys. Swear if it isn't dead, we'll all come back. She hands the shard to Bill, who slashes her palm with it. One by one, the others approach. Bill slashing everyone's palms. Does his own last, before they all clasp hands and lock eyes. A blood oath is sworn. Bill finishes up packing. Zach pops his head in. Almost ready, champ? Bill nods. You were right. Zach throws down a paper on Bill's bed. Travis and his dad under the caption, Son admits murders, says my daddy made me do it. I'm proud of you, son. He goes. Bill looks at the ceiling, water stain now gone, still uneasy. Bill packs his suitcase and looks out for his friends, someone to send him off. No one. His mom closes the truck and kisses him on the forehead, still distant, but trying. I know it's not Acadia, but maybe we can make new memories, just us. It's cool, Ma. They pull out and Bill looks ahead, now wishing he could stay with his friends. As they pass Witcham and Jackson, Bill glances out at the infamous storm drain. Then he notices behind him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Huffy bikes swinging out onto the road chasing him. Ben, Bev, Richie, Mike, Stanley, and Eddie all pedal like mad after him, waving goodbye. Bill waves goodbye and puts his hand against the glass as they drive away. The swarm of bikes trying to keep up behind, until finally, turning a corner, his friends are gone from sight. As Bill's wagon drives off, we rise up and up and up over Bill's neighborhood and then high over Derry and the rivers and all black pines as far as the eye can see until we come to a floating red balloon. It pops. The end. Alright, congratulations if you made it all the way to the end. You are the 1%. Very few of my listeners or watchers, whatever you want to call them, actually watch until the end, so I do congratulate you. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and if this content brings you value, and leave a thumbs up to let others know that this is the real deal and is not just a fake video. Okay, see you in the next movie reading.